Good morning, everybody. It is December 15th, 2023, 8:46 a.m., and we are here and we are back for another market open. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We've got a lot of news to talk about today. The S&P is at 470 in the pre-markets. Yesterday was a fantastic start to what seems to be the Fed's ultimate pivot into a bull market. And as a result of that, today the market is continuing. S&P actually right now at 469.77. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback here and there. Actually, in the pre-market, we were doing very well on a lot of stocks, and we saw them come down. SoFi was at 965. Now it's at 947. Palantir was at 1853. Now it's at 1840. So we're seeing some of these stocks come down just a little bit in the pre-market. We'll see what happens as the market opens. But I mean, I don't know what more you could have asked from in terms of this week. CPI data was good. PPI data was good. The Fed pivoted their entire approach to how they were going to essentially govern interest rates and how they were going to deal with cuts and raises. So it's been a very, very exciting week, and we'll see what happens today. We got a lot of news to get into. Palantir wins a $115 million contract. We have to talk about that. That's going to be pretty exciting in terms of the implications of that contract, what that means in general. And then we have a bunch of different headlines. GM is cutting off about 1,300 employees, so we got to talk about that. PayPal is moving in the pre-markets now above $60, so we're going to talk about that and a variety of other things. Apple hit all-time highs yesterday. So we've got a lot to get into. It is Friday. We are back on Friday. So you know what we got to do? We do this every week. Put in the chat where you're watching from. Put in the chat where you are watching from, and I'm going to go through it, and let's see where everybody is from on this lovely, lovely Friday. We have 16 days left until the end of the year, which is insane. 16 days left until the end of 2023. It just seemed like yesterday that we were starting January 2023. And I don't know if you guys remember what the start of the year feels like, but every time we get to the end of December, I start to remember what it felt like going back into the start of the last year. And I remember start of January 2023, I took a long drive to go get some food right before the day started. And I just remember having all these thoughts and goals and ambitions and all this stuff. And then 23 was just a wild year. A lot of good stuff happened. Some stuff didn't happen, but it was just, you go through the intensity of the year, and now it's a year later, and now we're into 2024. So absolutely insane to be here, but we are here. All right, where are we from? We've got Missy Iger from Saskatchewan. I love that word so much. You knew I was going to love saying that word, didn't you, Missy? You knew I was going to love saying that. Garcia from California, what's up? We got Kevin from the Netherlands. We got Jeremy from Dallas. We got Colin from Canada. I love Canada. Canada's my favorite country in the world. It's a country, right? It's not a continent. No, I'm just kidding. I love Canada. There's some special people. Well, there's one special person in Canada that I deeply love. So Canada's awesome. We got Erwin from Boulder, Colorado. We got Brian from NYC. We got Greg from Dubai. We got Kelly from my bed. That's wrong because I'm looking at my bed and you are not there, but I wish you were. We got John from Denmark. We got Win from Las Vegas. Valero from the UK. We got Philip from Boston. We got Teddy from Maryland. We got Healthy Heart from Hilton Head, South Carolina. I love that. South Carolina is very awesome. New Hampshire. What else we got? Nebraska, Toronto, my buddy. I don't know what my buddy is, but that sounds kind of interesting. This is awesome, man. It is so great to see people from all across the world, all across the United States. It's just Peter from Miami. See, we got South Carolina, and then we got Miami. We got people from all over the world. This is why this market open is so cool. And all of us are here with one interest, which is let's make some fucking money. All right, let's get into it. I think we'll start off with Palantir, and then we'll go into the macro. So we'll start with Palantir. We'll do a segment on them, and then we'll go straight into the macro. By the way, for those that watch this stream after it is live, if you could comment today, that would mean the world to me, because this stream, it kind of blows my mind. It gets 4,000 to 5,000 views after it's posted. And it's just crazy to me that after the stream is done, if we get 800 people here that are live, there's another 3,200 people that watch it afterwards. So if you are one of those people that watches it during your lunch break, or, you just put it as a way to sleep, I've had multiple people tell me this week that they use the stream as a way to sleep. And I get that, because I use other things to fall asleep. I'll put on some political show in the background, and that helps me fall asleep. So I understand how something that's common to you can just be all right, let me just throw it on in the background, and it helps me kind of relax and go to sleep. So one of my friends who's in Italy right now, he said that he was at his Airbnb and he was really tired from jet lag, and he said, dude, I had to turn you on while I was in the hot tub because it just relaxed me. And Well, when he said that, I felt closer to him in a way that I couldn't explain. So anyway, let me know if you are watching it after it comes out. All right, let's get into Palantir. Now, before I get into this real quick, I'm putting something in the chat. I'm starting a new clips channel for Palantir. I just put it in the chat. For those that don't catch the daily Palantir episode every single day, these are clips. So these are 5 to 7 minute segments of the daily Palantir episode. I usually do 4 segments an episode. All 4 segments, their own individual clips. If you don't care about the clips, don't subscribe. If you do care about the clips and you are okay with getting them in your feed sometime, subscribe to this channel because we're gonna have all the clips here. It doesn't take me extra time to just chop up the clips while I'm uploading the video. So I thought, you know what, might as well start a separate channel, especially for people that can't get the full episode. So please make sure to subscribe to that if you want some of the clips. All right, Palantir has gotten the $115 million deal that Louis De Palma, our boy Louis, said we wouldn't get. So if you guys remember, Louis, a couple of days ago, actually a week ago, basically went to some meeting. Okay. And in that meeting, he was like, oh, Palantir is not going to get the same deal that they've gotten from the Army Vantage contract. They got a $458 million deal in 2019. They're not going to get that deal again because the Army is changing how they like procure software. And then if you went to defensecontracts.gov yesterday, Palantir gets an extension for $115 million. Over the past 3 years, they received about $110 million, $113 million, $116 million. So this $115 million is completing the deal, and they ended up getting the money that Louis De Palma said they wouldn't get. Remember why this is so important. The reason this matters so much, and then we'll talk about the specifics of the deal, because I actually do want to make sure people understand like why this deal is so important, is because Louis De Palma tanked the stock about 6% by doing this. Right. So Louis De Palma said that they wouldn't get this extension. Wall Street took that note seriously because he works at William Blair, which is such an exciting, it's such an interesting name to name the company William Blair. Like it sounds like some rich dude from Beverly Hills, William Blair. But William Blair made this note. Louis De Palma, who also sounds like a rich guy from Beverly Hills, puts out this note. Wall Street took it from 19 to 17. I did buy that dip. Right now we're at 18. And then the Army had to come out and correct him. The Army was like, no. This guy's full of shit. Basically, they had to say that. And then Shyam Sankar, I cannot stress, the CTO of a $50 billion company, $39 billion company after the dip, has to come out on Twitter and say, Louis De Palma is incorrect. CTOs are not supposed to be concerning themselves with analysts. That's not their job. Their job is to go build the company. The fact that he had to come out and like call this analyst out by name just shows you how much disdain Palantir had for that report, because that report was full of shit. It tanked their stock price, by about $5 billion, and they didn't appreciate that because it was based on nonsense, right? If the stock's going to drop, it shouldn't drop on something that's like not true. So in my opinion, this guy's lost all credibility when discussing Palantir, and it's really important to not take his word that seriously. Now, what is the Army Vantage contract? Army Vantage is instrumental in optimizing readiness, training, logistics, talent management, and contract efficiency while promoting data-driven approaches that provide soldiers and other Army partner organizations access to the data and tools they need to serve their missions across the entire Army enterprise. Essentially, think of it as a operating system for the Army in order for them to be able to operationalize all the different logistics and decision-making they have to do at scale. Throughout the program's lifespan, Army Vantage has enabled the Army to recoup savings on over $700 million in additional deobligated funds, amounting to nearly $4 billion since the program's instantiation. So it's worked. And the money they're paying Palantir, quite frankly, is peanuts compared to the money that they're saving, which is also really important as well, right? So this matters. And reading from the top as well, the total contract value inclusive of options is $115 million, with $97 million awarded and initial funding obligated in the amount of $35 million. So they're going to recognize $35 million later after they got this $97 million. So that'll go for their RPOs, their remaining performance obligations. Now, Akash Jain, president of Palantir USG, says Palantir is honored to extend our work with the U.S. Army as it evolves into the Army Data Platform solution. Building on our shared history of operational excellence and innovation, our partnership has consistently provided the Army with decision edge and data-driven decision-making. This extension is evidence of the value we bring to the nation's defense, including our joint efforts to provide more commercial technology providers the opportunity to equip soldiers with the innovation they need to meet their more pressing challenges. What does this mean long-term for Palantir? Number one, it means Louis De Palma is someone you should not listen to. And his opinion has, in this game, you need credibility. Like in this game, it's all about credibility, especially in the investing space. You cannot get away with saying some of the stuff you say. So, I mean, number one, it means that Louis De Palma really doesn't understand what he's doing. Number two, and more importantly, if Palantir is able to bring this to NATO governments, what I mean by that is $500 million contract for the Army Vantage. There are multiple armies across the world that also care about Western values. If Palantir is able to penetrate Denmark, Sweden, the UK, Germany, etc., and bring them this type of sophistication in terms of their operational readiness for their own militaries to protect their own Western values, to make sure they have defense technology at the edge, well, that's a lot of money coming into the future, in my opinion. That's a lot of money coming into the future. And so really the bull case for Palantir, on top of all the commercial stuff, is that their government business is not going anywhere. It is incredibly sticky. It is incredibly powerful. The Army's not going to give this contract to C3 AI when Palantir's been doing it for 4 years and they've been doing it at the highest of levels. And so the question now becomes, can they cater the government business outside of the United States, bring it to the international landscape in a way that truly does get them to scale their offerings in a way that other software companies have not been able to do. Remember, in 10 years from now, my question is, could 30% of NATO countries be using Palantir as their operating system? And if they are, that's tens of billions of dollars of revenue. I mean, that's a lot of money. And so for a lot of, when we remember, we got $250 million from the Army for the AI machine learning contract back in September 28th. When we get these heavy contracts, you remember, oh, wait a second, the government has a lot of money and they need to spend that money somewhere. And if they're going to spend that money, they're going to spend it on companies that can actually do the job. And those companies are probably not going away, because once you're in, you're in. Palantir has talked about many times over the past 20 years, they really had to fight to get in here. They had to sue the Army, but they got in. Same thing with SpaceX. And now they're in. And so I think the bull case for Palantir is very strong. I think these contracts get to show you that these, Palantir is not really going anywhere. And it just goes to show the lack of sophistication, right? So when we got, these people in the bear cave, when they write these articles that Palantir is an AI imposter, like, I don't understand how the government can give $115 million to a company 4 years after they've already shown they can do this work, if the work wasn't good or the work wasn't getting done. I mean, at some level, like, especially in the Army military, this is not the bureaucratic IRS, right? This is like the military where they're protecting people's lives. I think Palantir is the real deal here. And so this government business is very sticky. It's very good. It needs to scale. Remember, I sometimes have to remind myself, I have to pinch myself. We got the NHS deal. The NHS deal is in. Like we got $480 million from the NHS. That has happened. I think we forget about it. And I was reminding myself yesterday, like, wait a second, we got that deal. We're managing the entire UK's healthcare system. You just imagine if we're managing their defense infrastructure. I know, and we went through hell to get that deal, right? All the media propaganda we had to deal with, but we got the deal, because at the end of the day, the best tech is the best tech. Like, at the end of the day, the tech is the tech. You got Instagram Threads trying to compete with Twitter. Like, they can do as well as they want to do, but at the end of the day, Twitter is Twitter. Like, people are going to use Twitter because Twitter is just a better product, in my opinion. So I think at the end of the day, Palantir is on a really strong trajectory, and we just need to continue to have more government growth and keep going from there. Midwest says, my wife doesn't know I'm listening on the down low. Yeah, some of you guys are getting in trouble with your wifeys. Some of you, I've gotten a lot of messages of just like, dude, my wife can't handle it. Like, you're just always on in the background, and it's like, it's too much. And those messages warm my heart, because it's like cheating on your wife without actually cheating on your wife. You know what I mean? And so you get to do the little salacious things you want to do. You just get to do it with me versus another woman, which I think, quite frankly, is good for the marriage. I think your wife should be very thankful for that. But I also think that, sometimes if this stream helps you get some more market intelligence and you make some more money for the family, then the wife should be really proud of that. I mean, no wife should have a problem with me in the background. They should value it. Okay. Let's get into it. So what do we have? We did Palantir. Let's move on to the next up. Let's go to macro. Let's go to macro. So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about in the macro. Lots of different things popping off. Again, we are entering in to 3 days of a bull market, officially a bull market, after the Fed has made their decision to pivot and lower interest rates 3 times. 10-year is up a little bit today. So let's look at the 10-year, and then we'll move on to some equities and see what's going on there. 10-year is at 3.954. Russia actually raised interest rates today by about 100 basis points. Russia is the only country in the world, to my understanding, that is raising right now. The European Central Bank, ECB, they all paused yesterday. The United States obviously paused a couple of days ago, signaling that they're pivoting. Russia is in a tough situation. Russia and China are in a very tough situation. So these guys are raising rates because they have to deal with a little bit more of inflation. Lee Allison says, Amit, you should add marriage advice to your resume. Probably should, to be honest. Probably, it might be a marriage counselor one day. But 10-year at 3.954, still below 4%, which is just incredible. Again, for those that don't understand the 10-year, it's a 10-year bond you're entering into with the government. It's why it's a bond. in order to finance their debt. So you're giving them their money, and the government, as long as the government doesn't go bankrupt, which your money is helping them not go bankrupt, they are guaranteeing you 3.954% on your money. Now, some people got to lock in a 5% fixed rate of return by giving their money to the government, which is just the safest thing you could do, right? Because as long as the U.S. doesn't go bankrupt, and the U.S. can't, theoretically, then you're going to get that money back. So there's very little risk to that. At the end of the day, as interest rates come down, that 5% went to 3.9. You start really thinking, wait a second, should I put my money here? Because it feels like there's a lot more money I could be getting somewhere else. And so I think that, along with the money that's in money market funds, we're seeing that potentially trickle into the stock market over time, because markets feel that those bond yields are not attractive enough for them to be able to get some more return. So we're seeing that right now in the context of the bond market, that 10-year continuing to go down. Inflation in Turkey is bad as well. Yeah, Turkey is having a bad time with inflation. So, Turkey, there are countries around the world that are not necessarily dealing with it correctly, but at least some of the more Western countries are finding a way to get ourselves out of the hole we dug ourselves into during the pandemic. And, that's another thing I've been thinking about, guys. I think the reason why we're in this soft landing scenario where we have a chance to survive is because inflation was created out of thin air via the printing of $7 trillion. And it led to this ridiculous, world we lived in where NFTs were worth 5 million, right? Like, that wasn't real. That wasn't ever supposed to happen. And the pandemic was never supposed to happen, right? It was just some random thing that happened. So this wasn't natural inflation. This was inflation that was caused by this resurgence of money entering into the system, which means it's not that crazy to think that we don't have to go through hell to get rid of that, because it wasn't really supposed to happen anyway. So there is sort of maneuvers the Fed can do to kill inflation quickly, because all they had to really do is do some quantitative tightening and raising rates. That it was two very simple things: sell off assets on the balance sheet and raise rates, and that $7 trillion that we had can go away. So, there is some level to, maybe it wasn't the craziest thing in the world for how we were able to resolve this. Let's talk about Costco as we're talking about the macro. The reason I want to talk about Costco as we're talking about the macro is because Costco did something that was just incredible. Costco did something that was absolutely incredible. Costco issued a $15 special dividend. $15 special dividend yesterday. Let me know in the chat if anyone owns this stock. I've been going to Costco literally since 2009. My mom started shopping there, and if I had financial literacy back when I was 12 years old, I would have told my mom to buy some Costco stock, because Costco is up 39% for the year, and they gave their investors $15 per share, I believe, for this special deal. Let's read on the special dividend. So where we have it right here. Costco's board of directors declared a special cash dividend of $15 a share. Yeah. $15 a share. So hold on, their share price is 600. So that's what, a 10% dividend, something like that? A little bit under a 10% dividend. Yeah. Basically, no, it's not 10% dividend. That would be $60. 15 divided by 600. That's a 2.5% dividend. Okay, so it's a little bit cheaper than that, but still, that's pretty nice to see that happening. Retailer reported a 16.6% increase in earnings to $358 a share. Revenue was up 6.2% at $57 billion. The dividend will be paid on January 12th with a total payment around $6.7 billion. So they're taking $6 billion and they're giving it back to shareholders. And see, this is the beauty of American capitalism. Okay, this is the beauty of American capitalism. If you invest in a company and the company takes your money to execute in a way that is operationally efficient, they have excess cash, and that excess cash not only goes to their employees, because for anyone who wants to say, oh, the shareholders are just getting rich, you should talk to Costco employees. Costco employees I think their net promoter score is one of the highest in the industry. They get paid very well. They have so much room for upward mobility. Costco workers usually stay there for about 10, 20 years because there's so many promotions they can get. They have so much work to do in that business. It's a thriving business. There's online, there's e-commerce, there's in the stores managing it. So there's it's an exciting place to work for. I've never been to a Costco and seen an unhappy employee, quite frankly. All of them, even if they're doing mundane tasks, they like working. There's a good work environment. So you can pay your employees well, and then you can pay your shareholders well as well. By the way, a lot of those employees have stock options. The stock's up 40% this year. So there you go. That stock option, the stock going up itself is also another really good way for employees to get compensated in a meaningful way. So I think this is actually, a really, really good thing for shareholders. And we're seeing a lot of value go back to them because of the ability for Costco to operate. Marvin says he owns Costco. Yeah, I think a lot of you in the chat, or at least a lot of you have told me that you have Costco in your Divvy portfolio, or just have it in the back because you've had it for so long. UBS raised their price target on Costco by $85 to $725. Now, the other thing about Costco that's really interesting, and I haven't gone through their transcript, I'll go over that and I'll talk about it on Monday, but their June transcript for their earnings, that's when the CEO and CFO said we're seeing massive signs of disinflation. And that should have been the sign that the Fed was going to pivot, because Costco is one of the most complex supply chains in the world. And so if you looked at the transcript from their earnings in July, they were basically saying, we are seeing these rotisserie chickens cost a lot less than what we paid for them 10 months ago. And that was a sign to me, at least, that, okay, disinflation is coming, but I guess I didn't believe them as much as, I should have believed them, because if I did, I would have invested more into some of the markets. I'm like, no, the Fed's going to pivot. I don't think anyone invested enough money on the hopes that the Fed was going to pivot. I don't think anyone did, because all of us thought Jerome Powell, given how hawkish he's been, was going to be hawkish. Like, we just thought there was no way he was going to be this dovish, and he ended up being that dovish, and that led to people that were invested in growth names or the names that are doing really well to benefit off of lower rates. Do you own SPY? I do not own SPY. Reason for that is because at this age, I kind of want to take my hat, take a little bit of bet on individual equities and see if I can beat the market, beat SPY. And, I think there will be a point where once I have a little bit of a nest egg, I'll just dump it in SPY and not look at it. But as of now, I'm trying to develop that nest egg. And so SPY is not necessarily the pick of choice at the moment. But, I think it is a safe bet to do. And you're betting on America at the point when you're betting on SPY. So not the worst thing in the world. Now, what I want to look at also right now is Enphase. Let's talk about that for a second. Enphase, just phenomenal price action right now. Let's see where it is right now. When I woke up, it was $126, which is just insane. Enphase is probably like 120 right now, 123. There we go, up 2.56%. Enphase was at 72. So let's do some quick maths real quick. Okay, let's do some quick maths. We'll do 123 minus 72 divided by 72. Enphase is up 71%. Okay, 71% in the past month and a half. So, I mean, let me know if you bought the dip on it. I will admittedly say, that I definitely shitted on Enphase because it was fun to shit on Enphase. Okay. When the stock goes from 180 to 70, I was on the airplane on the way to Las Vegas. I was tweeting on my iPad that, I'd rather bet on black than vote on Enphase. Right? I was having fun with this. I probably should have been buying a little bit at that time and been like, wait a second, if you can make fun of it this easily, maybe it's a little undervalued. And, I think that's the theme of 2023 as well. When a company gets so depressed in terms of its stock, whether it's Palantir at 6, SoFi at 6, SoFi now at about 947 in the pre-markets, Enphase at 72, or Snapchat. That's $17 in the pre-market right now. It was at $8. So when a company gets that depressed, it is worth a deeper look. It doesn't mean you go balls deep and be like, oh, it's only going to go up, because no, it could keep going down. There are many examples in history, probably more examples than it going up that it goes down. But Snapchat is an important company in the world in the context of 750 million users. Enphase, a duopoly with SolarEdge when it comes to solar microinverters and solar as an industry in general. And then Palantir, just an amazing AI play when it's at $6. When some of these companies get that low, I think it's worth a second deep dive. If you had bought $10 call options on Snapchat when it was at $8, which is not that crazy, $8 to $10. It's not insane for a company that does have somewhat of a moat. You would have been up like about 200-300% on those options just in the last couple months. And so I think from that perspective, it's really important to be like, next time a company gets that low, I'm going to take a real deep look at it. Like a real deep, even if I don't know or care about the company. Because Snapchat, I don't use Snapchat anymore. I don't care about it. But I was one of the first users in 2012. I was literally, talking to girls back in 2012, sending these like selfies like that. That was a form of flirting back then, right? Like that was a big thing, like because Snapchat made it so easy to. So I know the product. I know how many people use it. They increased their DAUs. Their Snapchat My Plus subscriptions increased like 7 million people, 7 million teenagers that are using their parents' credit cards, pay $5 a month for their stupid AI. Like I don't use it, but other people do. And I think that's part of being humble in the stock market, is realizing like, you may not use a product and service, but the reason we have American capitalism is so that other products and services can thrive in a free market and other people, other consumer segmentations can consume that product or service. For example, the 644 people that are being here, there's not a billion people on this live stream, but to 644 people, this stream is something they want to consume. And so there's so many products and services that are out there in the world that have so many different business models that it warrants taking a look when they get to that low, when they get to like Pfizer. Pfizer's at decade lows. I'll take a look at it. I'm taking a deeper look at it, because taking a deeper look at it means maybe there's some alpha there that is to achieve, even if I don't care about Pfizer, even if I'm not using Pfizer drugs. And quite frankly, I probably have taken a Pfizer drug before, in the past. So something that is worth looking. Justin says, this sounds like your take on Disney. I don't use it. So correct. This does sound like my take on Disney. The difference is Disney Plus is trash. Okay, that's it. Disney Plus is trash. That's my take here. Now, granted, I was looking at Disney at 92, right? And that's when I formed the thesis that I don't like it. Disney went to 79. At 79 or 72, 75, that was like 2013 lows. That's when my Disney Plus is trash thesis probably shouldn't have been a factor, because I'm talking about lows, right? Disney at 92 wasn't really the low. 71 was the low. So Disney right now is at 93. It got to a low of 78 on October 4th. So at 78, that's when my thesis of Disney Plus being trash probably should have been readjusted. Now at 93, I don't know if the alpha to 100 and what was the all-time high? The all-time was like 180 or something. I don't know if that alpha is there. I could be wrong about that. But agreed, when it gets to those, and maybe it is, and maybe I have to go do a deeper dive. But in the context of Disney, that one was just harder to get my head around at that levels. Perry Shelton says, Amit in high school, yo girl, let me slide up in you snap. Okay, that's not how I said it, Perry, but that was basically how I was talking about it. Quality over quantity. No, I agree. I agree. I at the end of the day, look, if we're looking for alpha, some of these stocks, when they get this low, I think it's worth looking at. Like, because also that is the story of the markets. Like, again, to use Snapchat as an example, when Snapchat got to $8, this is what I think actually tells if you have, a resemblance of doing good due diligence. Snapchat at $8, I think it was like a $17 billion market cap. It felt overvalued, right? Because why would you pay $17 billion? They IPO'd at $23 in 2017. Stock has been blah, blah, blah. Like you can have all the bear cases. But then if you look under the hood and you saw their internal memos that were even leaked, by the way, by The Verge, that their DAUs and MAUs are rising dramatically. So there's something they're doing correctly to keep 750 million people on the platform. That's where it's like, wait a second. I don't like the company. I don't like management. I absolutely hate the stock-based compensation. But the market is forward looking. And if at all-time lows, does the market have any sense of forward-looking resemblance that when the macro shifts, the market is just naturally going to buy up the stock because it's a small cap? It's at multi-year lows. Big tech has already rallied. So can we see a transition? There's all these different bull narratives you could come up with, but none of those bull narratives make sense unless there's a thesis behind the company. And that's where deep due diligence comes in. And that's when you have to make the investment decision. And I think, that's something all of us have to get better at. Because if we do get better at it, then there's a lot of alpha to be found when these stocks get really low. And you're not going to win all of them. But Snapchat was one that, quite frankly, was more obvious than meets the eye. And it's not even just saying that in hindsight. Snapchat was pretty, they have almost 1 billion users for a reason, right? And also the big problem with Snapchat was monetization, right? Advertising was the issue. They're monetizing through subscriptions now. So advertising, I agree, it sucks on Snapchat, but that's not the business model, at least investors think going forward. Now the business model is, hey, let's just get these people to subscribe because of AI that we're offering. Apple right now, 198, S&P at 472 or 470 in the pre-markets. We got crypto companies that are down. Bitfarms is down 2%. Marathon is down 2%. Ride is down 2%. CleanSpark down 2%. Coinbase down 1.25%. Coinbase now at $151. It's up 300% year to date. Just absolutely incredible. Regional banking ETF is at 53.65, down a little bit. TFC had a great yesterday morning. TFC is down just 0.16%. TFC is at $37.58. So TFC and the regional banks continuing to do well. We're seeing a lot of momentum in some of these small cap names as the market transitions from large cap. Palantir right here is at 1850 in the pre-markets as well, up 1.59% on the day. Kristen says, Amit, I wish you the best. I found your channel 1 year ago, and since then I've learned a lot from you and other junkies. Much love. Thank you, Kristen, for being here. It means the absolute world to me. Hope you were enjoying some of these market open streams as well. Snap was a good trade, not investment. I agree. Maybe I should have clarified. So, there's a trade to be made on some of these stocks, not investment. Like even Robinhood to me is not the best long-term investment, but it's a hell of a trade to be made, right? So that's why I said the call option, right? If you bought a $10 call option at Snapchat when it was $8, the only reason you have the confidence to stick with that $10 call option is if you think, hey, the sucker can get back to 10, and to have the conviction it can get back to 10 and doesn't go back to 5 and get bought out or, gets bankrupt, you have to have some due diligence on, wait a second, why is it at multi-year lows? Maybe there's something here I should look at. Now, Alibaba is different because everything I'm saying could still apply to Alibaba at ridiculous levels. The problem is the thesis on Alibaba is not there. The reason the thesis on Alibaba is not there is because of China. And this is actually backed up by a lot of research. Again, I told you guys yesterday, I'm doing a ton of research on what's going on with China. They're in a really tough situation. China, and Alibaba could go back to 150, I think easily, right? I think it could moon back up there. The problem is investors in the United States, where a lot of the liquidity is, they just don't trust. They don't trust how the Chinese government is operating. If you look at underneath their real estate problems and their banking problems, they have trillions of dollars of losses right now that they're trying to figure out. And that's, possibly the bull case for why they don't invade Taiwan, because there's just too much going on in their economy. So BABA is one of those things. NEO is one of those things I just don't touch anymore, because I really can't. I have no control over what's going on in China. None of us do. And so on a valuation perspective, Alibaba at 70 is stupid. It's just unbelievably stupid. But China is not stupid. And, China wants to do what they want to do. But SLG is up 35% in a month. Absolutely insane. SLG, commercial real estate. Now, to talk about commercial real estate in a second, a lot of the fears around commercial real estate have fundamentally changed from what was happening just 6 months ago. I mean, the reason SLG got to $19, which was a $1 billion market cap, even though they were the second largest Class A dealer of properties in New York City, which is like New York City, and they had a $12 billion in assets, even though they had a $1 billion market cap, was because they had a lot of commercial real estate on their books, and a lot of commercial real estate was argued that it would be financed at a much higher rate than what it was financed for back in 2020 when we had COVID and the pandemic. And so a lot of these regional banks and REITs would be under so much water because of their commercial real estate loans. The problem is the Fed has signaled we're lowering rates. So the refinancing of those commercial real estate loans is not seeming like that big of an issue anymore for regional banks that had a ton of commercial real estate exposure. TFC only had 8%, so that was another bull case for TFC, that their exposure was low. And for these REITs that aren't going to be underwater because the rates on refinancing are not going to be that bad. As a result of that, we got some momentum, and we saw these REITs start to go higher. SLG up 35% in a month is just, because 35% in a month in a REIT is not easy. And also it was still paying a 12% dividend. Let's listen to Tom Lee. Some of you guys might have seen this. I just want to play a couple minutes of him talking about small cap funds and where the money is going over 2024, where he thinks money will be flowing into next year.
See that have potential.
Well, I think investors in the next 12 months are going to start to say, what things get fixed if the Fed just stops being so aggressive on rates, right? So if rates fall, and it makes a lot of sense that asset quality gets better if rates fall for the banks, commercial real estate comes back, small caps, which are highly levered or higher levered, really benefit. So to me, this, the next 12 months, it seems like small caps can be up 50%. The Russell 2000 just crossed 2,000 today. So maybe
50%.
Yeah, so it could be Russell 2000 hitting 3,000.
I mean, we're seeing it today, to your point. It's another 3%, almost 3% day for the Russell 2000. It's up 8% in a week. It's up 17.5% in a month. How much of this hinges, though, on yields continuing to move lower? And is there a point at which this steep fall in yields actually signals issues for stocks rather than positivities?
Yeah, I guess on that latter part, you're wondering if it turns into a growth scare.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people are trying to figure out what message is coming from lower rates. But remember, it was just in October where everyone said term premium is permanently higher. Future inflation expectations are higher. The Fed has to keep a higher neutral rate. I think on three of those things now, given how much inflation's fallen, I don't think there should be the term premium. It should return to normal. The neutral rate probably is staying lower. And then inflation expectations are coming down. That means the 10-year, could be below 4% for all of next year. And that would be really big for small caps because, on a price to book basis, they're trading at where they were in 99 relative to S&P. And that was the start of a 12-year outperformance cycle.
I want to say what he just said again. I mean, what he said, it was kind of blew my mind. So let's listen to that one more time.
Big for small caps because, on a price to book basis, they're trading at where they were in 99 relative to S&P. And that was the start of a 12-year outperformance cycle.
Small caps are trading on a price to book where they were in 1999 relative to the S&P. And that was before we had a decade-long bull cycle. So Tom Lee's argument is the Russell is passing 2,000 right now. That look, a lot of that money is not going to be chasing Amazon and Tesla anymore and Nvidia because they've had just monster runs. They will do well, but they're not going to go up against 60, 70, 80%. But some of these small caps that are real companies that are turning to profitability, like a SoFi, like a Robinhood, maybe they get there.
What if inflation doesn't continue to fall as fast and furious as it has? What if it gets really sticky here?
Well, I think that's the misconceptions. 60% of core CPI is housing and car plus car services. Housing and car services account for 1.74 percentage points of the excess inflation. We're at 1.6% of the excess. So literally those two things account for all of the inflation. Housing just needs to stabilize at 3%, and used cars are going to fall like 30%. So, I mean, I think inflation is going to easily hit the 2% core target sometime next year and sort of stay there.
Why shouldn't we worry about Washington? I mean, it's an election year coming up in 2024. One of the potentially big spoilers of 23 was Congress not being able to function. Does that pose any danger for the markets?
Yeah, it is a perception question because, you know, gridlock historically is good for equities.
They talked a little bit about Congress and if there's some issues from the political perspective. I don't, ultimately Tom Lee thinks that it's not going to be the worst thing for stocks, even if there is a little bit of problems in the House and Congress. But in general, that small cap take is really, really interesting, right? So there are a lot of companies out there, a lot of stocks that have not seen the momentum that big tech has seen this year. Because they were seen as unsafe. They were, and again, they were seen as unsafe, speculative. We were coming off of 2021 where NFTs were, going for millions of dollars. And so a lot of these SPACs, essentially, these companies did not seem like they were worth investing in. Now you get investors that are like, look, there's not that much alpha in Google, right? Maybe I'll, make 1x my money over 5 years on Google. Maybe I'll double. But like at the end of the day, I'm looking for some more return. And if I'm looking for some more return, if I'm betting on an individual equity, Google is a flight to safety. Google is and it has been, remember, Google, Amazon, right? These guys got down to like $80, $90. These stocks got really, really cheap in 2022, early 2023. That's not the case anymore. Unless we see Google go back to $80, right? That's not the case. And unless we see Meta get back to $88, that's not the case. And so if that's not the case, the question becomes for a lot of these investors, where are the undervalued opportunities, especially if you've been a fund manager that has missed out on this run? I mean, if you manage institutional money and you have not made money this year, like you're in a tough situation because your clients are like, what the fuck are we paying you money? Like you got to do that. And so now you're rushing to figure out, all right, where can I get some of the alpha? Because, maybe if there's something that's massively undervalued, you can park your money there if it's a good deal and keep going from there. And Novix, we got a Novix in the chat by Johnny. Let's look at a Novix. Novix also, look at that, $14.15. This stock ran to $23. This is the definition of a small cap, even though I know small cap is less than $1 billion, but 2.3 billion is pretty small cap to me. It went from 26 in 2022 down to 6 in January 2023. Then it ran back up to 23 in July. Then it fell back down to 8. Now it's at 14. So as a trade, if you were trading in Novix, there's a lot of sort of opportunities here. But in general, Enovix is what people are saying is the future of batteries. It's another TJ Rogers companies from TJ Rogers, the guy who created Enphase. And so Enovix as well is one of those companies that their earnings are kind of shit, quite frankly. I mean, they made like $40,000 in revenue, but the potential of the company is so vast that you've got other liquidity coming into investments like this saying, hey, wait a second, this is a small cap that can run because they have a lot of potential. They haven't been running because of where the economy's been and where allocation has gone to. Maybe let's take a risk on them. And so that's why you're seeing other companies like that also get the benefit of the doubt as well. Justin says, I think this is correct in the short term. However, I think the long-term big boys will just continue to get better. I agree. And this is where AI earnings growth is going to be incredibly important. I mean, AI earnings growth is going to need revival in 2024 to be able to get these companies to justify. Because remember, in 2023, a lot of it was cost cutting, right? When Google cuts 15,000 people, yeah, their earnings are going to be better. Now you got to show that the AI that you keep talking about is actually leading to revenue growth. And I think they will. Dude, I mean, look, the QQQ is up 40% year to date. 40% in an ETF year to date. I don't know if we get a QQQ that does that. That does that in the beginning next year. Like again, Google, Amazon, Meta, they're not at $80, $100 anymore. Now they're at either close to all-time highs. Microsoft and Apple hit all-time highs. Amazon's $30 away. Google's like $10 away or $20 away. And Meta hit an all-time high. NVIDIA hit an all-time high. So 3 names, Tesla, Google, and Amazon have not hit all-time highs. The other 4 have hit all-time highs. It's just going to be harder from an all-time high to go up another 40%. So if you were invested in the Qs this year, you did great. 257 at the beginning of the year, 404 at the end of the year. I mean, shit. For an ETF, dude, for an ETF to do that, not an individual stock. I mean, that's just like the Qs were one of the best trades of the year, one of the best investments of the year. And even if you just get 10% for the next couple of years, it's not that bad as long as these companies continue to grow. Tesla, let's talk about them for a little bit. We got 5 minutes to the market open. Thanks you everybody for being here. It is Friday morning. We are here December 15th. Tesla 251. Tesla rallied yesterday up 5%. I don't know what the news was. I think the macro kind of just brought Tesla to a higher level. And obviously the bot has been really interesting. Even though Ross Gerber thought the bot was like an old man walking, which was just incredible to think that. I mean, dude, like to criticize what they've done in terms of the innovation and he pretended it was like an old man walking. It's just, you got to be embarrassed to think that he's like a spokesperson for the Tesla community. I mean, it's just absolutely embarrassed. But in general, that bot was exciting. Another headline is that Tesla Giga Mexico got $153 million incentive from Nuevo Leon as state officials seek to temper concerns about delays in the new factory. So Mexico obviously wants Tesla to come in. Mexico wants to make sure Tesla is a regional manufacturing hub. There's a lot of jobs that are going to be made in Mexico. Obviously, Tesla's trying to diversify from China. They're trying to get into India, Mexico, etc. And so they're getting incentives to keep building over there. That Tesla factory as well just looks so beautiful. I mean, look at that factory. Look at it, powered by solar panel. It looks so beautiful. If I was Elon Musk and I was just like staring at it right outside, I would be like, holy crap, this idea in my head has turned into this big ass factory that's making hundreds of thousands of cars, employing thousands and thousands of people. It's being done in a solarly efficient way. I mean, it's just incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So that is also happening with Tesla. And, the more the Tesla factories ramp up, the more we have a chance for a $25 car. That $25 car is also going to be incredibly interesting. Or $25,000 car will be incredibly interesting for the equity markets to be able to price in, because why would you get a Honda or Toyota if you were buying a Tesla? Gerber's ETF is also not doing well. For those that don't know, Ross Gerber does have an ETF. It's called GK. I mean, we can take a look at it right now. It went public in 2021. So he took advantage of like the massive bull run that was happening. And it went public at 24. It went public at 25. It's at 17. It got to a high of 28. It went to a low of 14. He also about Palantir yesterday. Someone asked him about Palantir, and I played that clip, and he said, they said, meet Kevin at a Palantir. What do you think about Palantir? And he was like, oh, Palantir doesn't have any pricing power. And so I don't know why it's in the pricing power ETF. And he's like, well, NVIDIA has pricing power. And I'm just like, dude, like, how do you manage money? And so you should make a fund that's just filled with NVIDIA. Like, is that what your argument is? It's just like, he's like, Tesla doesn't have pricing power. Palantir doesn't have pricing power. NVIDIA has pricing power. And I'm like, so that's your philosophy on how to set up a fund. You're just going to pick a company that, you think is at the top, which, by the way, they're going to have massive growth to continue to have that pricing power. It was just weird how he was analyzing it. These are the top things that are in his fund right now. MGM Resorts is at 8.52%. NVIDIA's at 7.6%. Microsoft's at 7.9%. Apple's at 6%. Tesla's at 5%. Google's at 5%. And then he has Lennar, Disney, VCI Properties, and Novo Nordisk. That's another reason he's been mad about Elon. Disney is 4.76% of his ETF. He probably supports Bob Iger not advertising on Twitter. And so, he hasn't really been on the side on Elon from that perspective. Tesla's only 5% of the fund. MGM Resorts is at 8%. Maybe that's why, the fund hasn't really moved that much. And then on top of that, he doesn't really have that many interesting bets. Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, Google. I mean, you're investing basically in the QQQs with MGM. Right. So like, it's not like Gerber is really taking that much risk. The reason why Meet Kevin at least has Enphase and Palantir is because they're a little bit more speculative, but that adds way more alpha to his fund. Meet Kevin also has PayPal, which is, I think, on a timely perspective, is a great thing to have right now in the fund. And so Meet Kevin, for whatever you want to say about him, he's at least adapting to what's going on, and you're seeing some different moves. If you're investing in Gerber, you're investing in MGM and the Qs, which is like, and the Qs have done way better than Gerber's ETF. So the guy talks a lot of shit for someone who really, and shitting on the Tesla bot for the lack of innovation is just incredible for me to see that happen from him. We got 30 seconds into the market open. Thank you everybody for being here. Let's see. Friday might see a little bit of downside, given we've rallied a lot this week. I wouldn't be surprised to see it, but also if we also just rally on Friday like we did last week and we have a really nice end to the week because investors want to get their capital in, maybe we see some market momentum as well. 824 people. Thank you for being here. It is Friday, December 15th. Once again, the stock market is indeed open. Wake your ass up. Here we go. Palantir. Oh my. Palantir balloons. Here we go. Palantir. What do we got? Palantir, you got Palantir at $18.80, opens up 3% on the day. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Palantir up 3% of the day. Did not expect Palantir to have a 3% move right on the day. It seems like there was some buying pressure held on Palantir ready to go. So you got Palantir up 3% of the day. We'll get back to that. Tesla 250 down just a little bit, 0.18%. QQQ up 0.21%. Enovix up 2.5% of the day. Again, some of those small caps getting a little bit more of momentum. Google is up 0.09% of the day. Alibaba up 2% of the day. Truist 37.57 up 0.19% of the day. Again, Truist had a 6% day yesterday, so really, really awesome for Truist in the regional banking sector. Snapchat $17.11 up 1% on the day. Snapchat now a $28 billion market cap, $4 billion in revenue, not profitable for Snapchat. Snapchat about 23 cents away from its all-time high or 52-week high. Enphase 125. Enphase 125 up 4% on the day. Just incredible. Just absolutely incredible to see Enphase at this level. I mean, did not expect to see Enphase at this level right now. We are seeing Enphase really start to just do what it needs to do in terms of gaining more momentum and more credibility as a solar play that's here to stay. Enphase up 70% in the past month. So really nice price action on Enphase. We'll go back to them in a second. Rivian, they had a partnership with AT&T yesterday, up 0.80%. Open Door down 1%. Snowflake down 1.61%. Snowflake now $65 billion market cap. SoFi, $9.42. They're down, but look, I mean, SoFi's at $9. You can't really complain. You really can't complain. SoFi now at $9.42. Not bad at all. Apple, $197. SLG, $47. Absolutely incredible for a REIT that was paying 16% as a dividend. And was at $19. S&P 469. S&P falling a little bit, so investors selling off the rally, taking a little bit off the table. Makes sense, probably was going to happen. So we're seeing the S&P come down a little bit. Coinbase at 150, Paramount at 1657, Lululemon down from $500 now at 487. Let's go to Robinhood. I think Robinhood's a low 1190s, 1181. Okay, so Robinhood falls about 2%. Investors are taking some off the table. Which is natural. I mean, I would imagine investors take some off the table. It's getting to the point where things have run up dramatically. So, they're going to take a little bit off the table to get a little bit of a profit taking cycle now happening here at the end of December. So we're seeing Robinhood fall a little bit. Robinhood's still up about 35% in the past, honestly, month. Nvidia at 485, Bitcoin 42,128. So Bitcoin's down as well. Bitcoin's down about 600 points, 1.62%. So we're seeing the Bitcoin stocks all down about 2-3%. Microsoft at 367. Nikola is up 6%. This is where I don't like seeing Nikola being up 6%. This is just pure speculation. And this is where you want to be scared of messing around with stocks like that, because that can get you burned. AMD up 1%, now touching 140, $225 billion market cap. Spotify 193, Elf Beauty 141, Arc Innovation 5174, Disney 93.72, CrowdStrike 254, DNA up 3.42%. Now DNA $1.65. Kathy Wood owns about 150 million shares of that. Verizon is down a little bit. Yeah, we're seeing a red market today, and it seems pretty natural. I mean, we had a great week. Palantir 1850. You have this good of a week, you're gonna get some momentum that's onto the downside. So, it is what it is. I would imagine that we have to get a little bit of downside just given how hard it was. Douglas said, I sold covered calls on TFC at $37.50 a month ago. Thought no way it would hit that. Now about to lose my 500 shares. Damn. I hope the premium was at least decent, Douglas. You could always roll those, right? You could buy them back and just put them on for a later day if you really don't want to lose it. But maybe you got some decent premium on the cover calls. Quite frankly, I didn't think TFC would hit 37.5 this month. I have leaps for 2 years. You guys, you want to hear something funny? Okay, you guys want to hear some fun math? So I sold my 2025 options on TFC. Okay, so I had 2025 expiring options on TFC. Let me give you guys the raw numbers just to explain what happened, because it'll explain what I did. You guys let me know if it was a mistake. I think it was the responsible thing to do, but you guys can let me know. So we're going to do the math right here. I had 91 options, call contracts, and I'll tell you the price I got them at. I had 91 contracts for January 2025 for TFC. Okay, bought them at $27. The contracts, I'll give you the price right now, the contracts are currently worth $745 a contract. Okay. I had 91 of them and I bought them for $378. So I spent $34,000 on these contracts. Okay. The contracts today, 91 times 745 means I would have $67,000 right now, minus the amount I paid for them. I would be up $33,000 right now in Truist. I sold my Truist call debit option spreads for a profit of $2,200 back in early November. In order to take that capital off the table, so I made 35,000 versus 67,000 if I just waited 1 month, in order to buy 2026 options. And so if I didn't do that, I would be up a lot of money right now because Truist has exploded, as you guys have seen. Truist, the rates came down. I didn't expect the pivot, which is why I took the time, which is why I just said, hey, let me get the premium on the time versus the premium on the alpha, because I want more time. Because my opinion was, wait a second, what if 2024 isn't a pivot? What if 2024 is fucking hard landing? Fed stomps their feet. They're saying, no, inflation is not dead, blah, blah, blah. Regionals can't go up because you need interest rates to come down because their losses are not going to come off their books unless interest rates come down. And so I was like, you know what? These expire in 2025. If 2024 is shit, I need another year. So I bought 2026. If I had believed that the Fed was going to pivot and I just left those options to stay, I would be up $30,000 right now. So this is what happens in the stock market, right? This is how it goes, because at the end of the day, they had to, they were going to go up because the time theta decay is harder, which is why if the stock gets to the price you're looking at before the theta decay, you're going to rally on the momentum. Robinhood right now at 1165, or 1176, but the premium on the time to me was worth it. Right. So now I'm not up $30,000 on TFC. I'm up less than that. I'm still up because I got the 2026 options, but I'm naturally going to be down on those, or not as high because they're in 2026. You know, the market's not going to give them that much premium because they have so much time to expire. So that was the risk mitigation that I had to do this year. And honestly, you know, I missed out on gains on that, but I'm happy I did that because that was the responsible thing to do, because no one expected the Fed to pivot. And so if I had believed the Fed is definitely going to pivot, I would have held it, but I did not believe the Fed was going to pivot. So if you did the right thing, if you didn't lose, you get to win and compound again. Yeah, I agree, Johnny. Eventually the 2026 options, I believe, will do well. So, you know, that will lead to compounding later. It's just, you just have to be more patient, right? I'm like, all right, I have to wait another year for this to really materialize versus right now. So as long as I don't need the cash right now, then I think it was definitely the more responsible thing to do at the end of the day. And that's part of, you know, growing up as an investor, just do the more responsible thing versus do the more risky thing. Enphase right now at 121, up 1.3%. Again, Enphase just absolutely incredible job. Did not expect Enphase to go from look at that right there, 73 to 121. Look at those two green candles, 73 to 121. I mean, goodness gracious, did not expect that to happen. So congrats to Enphase investors. You guys deserve it. Google right now at 134, Snapchat at 17, Rivian at $22. We got Palantir 1852. Palantir actually holding up pretty nicely today, and going green at 1.78%. I wanted Palantir at 15. I don't know if that happens. Really, really don't. But we will see. Maybe we get there. It's just going to be hard to get there. Guy says, I just hold shares that have returned 30% plus a nice dividend money this year alone. Yeah, that's the other thing about TFC, dude. The dividend was almost 8% at one point. And so that's when the stock got stupid. And that's where a lot of the alpha was worth getting there. Enphase, please chill. I have covered calls. A lot of people did sell covered calls on Enphase. And, you know, I don't think anyone expected it to get to 125 this quickly. And so if you had strikes there, those calls, unless you roll them, might end up going away. 10 years down. Let's look at the 10-year real quick. 10 years down again. Wow. Is the 10-year down again? Oh my, the 10 years down again. 3.93. The 10-year was up this morning. It was 3.98, 3.93, 10 years down. Investors do not want to get into these bonds. Investors want some more alpha. I've been using the word alpha a lot recently. I've been using it a lot. It's just a way to describe like gains, but it seems like that's what investors are looking for. A little bit more. All right. I want to play a clip that I saw a little bit more around where the market opportunities are going into 2024 and what some analysts think are happening in a different way. And then maybe we'll get the bear case as well let's actually do the bear case. We've been talking about the bull case. Let's hear the bear case. Is Neuberger's Berman's Croft, whatever her name is. And let's see what she has to say about why she's actually a little bit more underweight equities and she's more into the bond market. No, I know. I mean, when rates go down, that means they want bonds. I agree. I should say yield instead of demand. Again, when the bond yields go down, that means they're being bought up, right? And so that means there's a lack of supply of demands because there's more demand. So there's lack of supply for bonds. That means there's more demand, which means those yields have to come down. When they're selling off the bonds, that's when they go up. The problem is investors are trying to get in that rate now. And so they're buying up those bonds. But that means if they're buying up those bonds, there's not that much supply in order to drive the price, which means the risk-free rate of return looks a little bit less attractive at 3.9 versus 4.5, which is why money gets into stocks. But AJ makes a correct point. Investors are buying bonds, which is what's getting the yield to come down, versus selling them, which is what makes it go up. I was confused about that for a while, but that's an inverse relationship for how bonds work. All right, so here's why interest rates falling needs a recession to happen in 2024.
Neuberger Berman Private Wealth Management Senior Wealth Advisor Holly Newman-Croft. Reminder, she oversees $3.8 billion in assets under management, is a Barron's Hall of Fame financial advisor. Welcome back. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you both. Thank you.
You've been waiting for a moment to get more bullish. Powell basically rang the bell yesterday and basically signaled we're done raising rates, and we're starting to think about cutting rates. Is this it?
I'm not bearish. I've been cautious, and we continue to be cautious and maybe more excited about other asset classes. I'm a little surprised by the euphoria in the market by what Powell said, because it wasn't so surprising. Everyone expected him to stay static with rates, and I think everyone expected rates to be cut next year. So it's not so surprising. When they cut rates, whether it's March or July, I don't think matters, because remember, monetary policy lags in the market. So we'll still be feeling the effects of the higher rates for longer in the market next year. I think what's really interesting and where we see opportunities in the equity sector is in the asset classes that underperformed this year. So if you look at the equity market, the range in returns is really in what I'm calling the terrific 10, right? 10 stocks responsible for 80% of market returns. And you can find a lot of value in those securities that are left behind. And we're seeing that actually since Powell's statements, like you just mentioned, Sarah, real estate, utilities, they're really driving this charge in the last 2 days. And those are areas where we're expecting to see outperformance next year.
Because the rally broadens out, because they got too cheap.
Yeah, they're totally undervalued. These mega cap tech stocks just drove this market performance. When you look at the equal weighted return of the market, it's about 10 or 11%. And actually, remember, my job is responsible growth of client capital, but also preservation of client capital. And when you look at the 2-year annualized returns, because everyone forgets that last year was down so significantly, it's like 2 or 2.5%. So if we still protect on the downside, and we're not out of equities, we're just not overweight or so concentrated in 10 securities. But we are seeing undervalued sectors and opportunities as we enter 2024 that we're excited about.
That's just in large cap? Are you looking at small and mid as well?
In every asset class. I mean, this year, large has done better than small and mid, developed over emerging markets, and we're probably still favoring those. But within every sub-asset class of the equity market, we're seeing opportunities. In markets where there's more volatility and more uncertainty, like the market that I think we're in today and we will continue to be in next year, we favor active management over all those asset classes, because we think fundamental analysis is so important to identify the companies that aren't so sensitive to interest rates and are undervalued and perhaps unappreciated in 2023, and where we can see the opportunity for outsized growth.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, her argument is basically large cap has rallied. And if large cap has rallied, we did talk about Costco Seco. We talked about it at about like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We talked about Costco. If large caps have rallied, then there is opportunity in other areas of the market. And, that's the core thesis that she's making. Now, the problem is the Fed talking about rate cuts is premature. I agree. I just saw the tweet of that. Thank you, Mika, for putting that in the chat. One of the Fed presidents just said that talking about rate cuts is premature. Now, in general, the Fed is going to, not say the Fed's not cutting in the next meeting. Okay, that's not going to happen. But eventually, the Fed said they will cut this year. I still think it'll happen in June. I don't think it's happening in March. I think March is a little too early. And then if it happens in June, it doesn't have to be 25 basis points. It could be 50 basis points. So her argument there in that clip is that you probably need a little bit more pain in order for that to have massive cuts. And as a result of that, she's a little bit more underweight equities, more overweight bonds. But in general, if we get to that soft landing where growth doesn't stall and unemployment doesn't rise dramatically, and we keep beating inflation over and over and over again every single month, which is what Tom Lee was talking about, that shelter is like 1.6% of the index, and 1.6.5 is like where the remaining value is for why CPI was at 3.1. So a majority of the external value for why CPI was not really that good this month in terms of barely going down was because of shelter. And I think the Fed knows that shelter is going down. So if that's the case, if nothing has to really break, if the 7 trillion we printed, we're able to just kind of take away over the next couple of years, just like nicely, maybe there really, 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 really is this soft landing that's coming up. And it would be, and it's something where there's a lot of money to be made in the markets. So we'll see. In March, if he says we're holding rates, does the market pump again? I don't know. I think, I know investors are now thinking there's like a 60-70% chance that in March we get a cut. I think the market would not do the best if he says we're holding, but I think as long as they're saying, hey guys, we're holding, but like, don't worry, we're going to cut soon, especially if inflation, if CPI has a nice 2 handle, like 2.7, 2.8, I think investors will be confident that, okay, they're going to cut. It's not like they're lying to us, but maybe they're just waiting a little bit. And so that's probably why. We'll see that happen a little bit later. Palantir, let's get back into some of these equities and see how they're doing. 946. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're about 16 minutes into the market open. Palantir, 1858, up 2% of the day. Not bad at all on Palantir. Seeing some more of that momentum come in to Palantir as it is going higher. We have Tesla at 250, QQQ at 404. It's up on the day. Google at 134. S&P, where's the index here? S&P still 469, so down just a little bit on the day. Enphase still at 122. Truist is down a little bit, 37.41. Robinhood at 11.71. So Robinhood got sold off today. Robinhood was breaking 12.50 yesterday. So Robinhood's going to need to capitulate a little bit, consolidate. If we can just consolidate around this $11 range, I think we'll be fine. Robinhood's numbers came out yesterday as well for the November metrics. Crypto was $4 billion worth of trading. Equities was $53 billion, and options was like 99.5 million contracts traded. So decent numbers. December, I think, is going to be even better given some of the momentum we've seen, especially since the VIX has still been low. So there is less volatility, but just a lot more upside in terms of interest rates going lower. And so, those December numbers might make their Q4 just crush going into February. SoFi is down 1%. Snowflake's down 1%. Open Doors down 5%. We see a lot of red on the side of my screen. iShares Russell's down at 197. And the reason for that is because Friday tends to be bad when the whole week was good. And goodness, was this week good. I mean, this week was a good week for a lot of people. So, if the week is really good, then you're going to get some downside on Friday. People are going to take some of the profits, and it's just part of the game as things move forward. Palantir now at $18.49 for the day. Rocket Labs is down 9%. Wow. Rocket Labs had a successful launch yesterday, right? They were up 5% in the pre-markets. Yeah, these guys are down about 10%. Rocket Labs is interesting to me. A lot of people have asked my comments on them. I just feel they're a bit too speculative to really build a big position on right now, quite frankly. Like, yeah, it's space, and yeah, it's like, the second coming of SpaceX or whatever, but like, it's really speculative to build a big position. And I'm getting to the point as an investor where I don't want to invest in something unless I'm doing at least 10 grand in a position, because at that point it's not worth it. And I know for a lot of you, you don't invest until you put in like 50 grand, right? Like a lot of people have their sort of allocations, but every position I have right now is at least 10 grand in a stock. And so that's kind of the cutoff for me. Because otherwise there's not enough of a return. And then I'm not serious enough to DCA into it when it goes lower. Like, that's the other big question for me. One, I have my threshold for how much money I want to allocate. The second question is, wait a second, if this sucker tanks, am I comfortable buying the dip? Palantir, I'm comfortable buying the dip. Robinhood, I'm comfortable buying the dip. Truist, I'm comfortable buying the dip. PayPal, I've been buying the fucking dip. What's the other thing that I have? Google, I'll be comfortable buying the dip. But like Rocket Lab, I don't know if I'm comfortable buying the dip. I don't know it's a space company. Like, it could fail. So, and I know my due diligence on it is pretty naive. There's a lot of good due diligence out there, but it's just not enough for me to want to excitedly buy something like this. Oh, to Tesla, no. Tesla, I still have 5 shares. I have not continued to DC into Tesla yet. So Tesla, I was hoping, we get a little bit below 230 is on that level. Now it's at 250. We'll see. Tesla, to me, again, Tesla is one of those things where I should be buying it just for that long-term thesis. And so 250, 230 doesn't really matter. Eventually, I'll keep DCing it. Again, the goal is 50 shares of Tesla. You guys will be updated as the Tesla position increase. Right now, it's still at 5 shares. I haven't sold them, which is a big deal for me because you guys know I sell. When I get Tesla, I sell it so much. But now I'm locked in, I'm here. And eventually we'll just keep bringing that up. It's not, yeah, you're right, Max. I don't have 10,000 position in Tesla. I actually forgot about Tesla. I forgot I had it. That's how much I don't care about Tesla. But the problem is I love Tesla as a company, and I cover it and I study it and I talk about it every day. But as a stock, you guys know my history with it. I got it when it was like 170 pre-split. And then I sold it. And ever since then, I've just never felt good about owning it. But now I'm at the point where, like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to buy it and we'll leave it for the next 20 years and see what happens. Somesh says, bro, the Fed is not going to cut rates in March 2024. Check Gergovin's tweet. A person from the Fed clarified it today. You know, it's really interesting, Somesh. Do you guys remember Neil Khashoggi, who's the guy who has the really weird Beetlejuice eyes, who's the chairman of the president of the Minneapolis Fed? He came on CNBC in October, and he tanked the market almost 10%. He came on CNBC, and this guy with a smile on his face and his big eyes was like, yeah, we are not cutting in 2024. I mean, this is the tone of that. Whatever the Fed presidents or all these guys say, and it's all bullshit. The reason it's all bullshit is because what Jerome Powell did 2 days ago literally destroyed all of the hawkishness that his little minions run around talking about on CNBC by saying, yeah, we're going to cut rates. So I really don't take it seriously. Now, granted, I don't think it's going to happen in March because I think March is too early. So I'm not taking the person from the Fed's opinion. I'm taking my opinion when I say that. But in general, a lot of these people from the Fed are clowns. They're all clowns because they will be the most hawkish they can be. And then in a second, they'll look at data and they'll change their mind and then it'll change. Or they'll be the most dovish and then they'll change their mind, right? So from that perspective, I mean, the Fed is the Fed. At the end of the day, whatever Jerome Powell says, that's the only thing that we can look at. Tata says, I really hope that this expedition of the Fed cutting rate in March will not crash the market in March. Yeah, I agree. I at this point, I don't think that would happen, but we need a couple more months of data, unemployment, et cetera, how the bond market is doing to really see where investors are going to allocate their capital. Right now, again, let's not forget, we still have $6 trillion on the sidelines. I think in the next month or two, either those trillions of dollars are going to say, hey, we are going to allocate to crypto and equities, and we are going to finally catch this market, or we are going to stay safe in our comfy money market fund. And that's the next couple months and see what happens. Let's take a look at this clip. Invesco's Anya says that the biggest reason we are still thriving is because of a strong consumer. Let's see what she has to say.
And Ananya Ladaya, she is portfolio manager for international growth equities at Invesco. And Ananya, everybody's trying to figure out if these gains will continue and even push further ahead for next year. What are your thoughts?
Well, Becky, I'm not particularly surprised by the market reaction, considering that the biggest overhang for the past 18 months or even longer has been the Fed pulling away the punch bowl of easy money and all the withdrawal symptoms that's led to. So for the Fed to come out and almost officially blow the all clear siren is a reasonable basis for optimism. Can it continue from here? I think you have to look under the index levels and look at individual stocks, because there are definitely plenty of very good fundamental stories out there at not egregious valuations. And those, I think, will continue to have a constructive backdrop.
Okay, here is the weird thing. Everybody was so wrong last year as we were heading into this year. Everybody was looking for some serious sort of recession, some serious slowdown. It didn't happen. Why should I feel any better that everybody now seems to think that next year's going to be okay because the Fed has made this pivot?
Yeah, no, I hear you, right? We came into this year with the experts almost willing us into a recession because there was so much scar tissue from 2022. But the economy and the data have just proved to be much more Goldilocks-like, not too hot, not too cold. Can that continue? Here's what I'll say, right? In terms of what we know, the market is a very complex, adaptive machine, and that's the part people missed. A year ago, people thought by this time Europe would have run out of gas. That didn't happen because they adapted. People thought, banking crisis, but they didn't realize the Fed has, or I think they didn't bake in the fact that the Fed has learned from previous missteps. And so this was much more quickly contained. And so I think the point people are missing again is, of course, there'll be unexpected surprises, but the market adapts very, very quickly. So it's not really going to rhyme with whatever historical data point we're extrapolating from.
I mean, that's a fair point, but how much of it is the market is adaptive and how much of it is government stimulus and central banks were here to cushion any potential fallout the whole way through? Because, the Fed may have been raising rates, but they also acted very quickly to be accommodative when we had the banking issues back in the spring.
Yeah, I think we've had very constructive institutions. That's certainly been helpful. But the biggest driver of this resilience has been a strong consumer, very good balance sheets, right? I'm sure there are pockets of excess, but overall, we do not have any structural misallocation of capital going into this or coming into this year. And a labor market that's really held up well. So I would say that the economic data has trundled along pretty well. And why did people miss it? I think partially it might have been because we came out of COVID with a lot of the time series looking pretty wonky. And so I think they may have been some confusion about where we are in the cycle.
Where do you see?
Look, I think at the end of the day, she's making the case that a lot of people have made, which is that this strong consumer led by jobs that have not gone away has created the economic incentives to still be able to have these stocks go up. Remember, like if a consumer can't spend money, an advertiser can't advertise, which means, something like a company like Google can't have the economic stimulus in order to be able to continue to, drive shareholder return. So a lot of this stuff is connected back to the consumer, and the consumer has been really strong at the end of the day. A lot of you guys liked her accent. I liked her accent as well. It was a really nice accent. I love when they have guests that can like really, when these talk, like it's just not boring, in terms of the accents. It's actually nice to see. So that was nice. But ultimately, she's making a point that I think a lot of us realize, that people have jobs. What's crazy as well is that people thought exiting 2020 would be the worst time for new college graduates. I graduated in 2020. Fun fact, we didn't have a graduation. We had like this virtual graduation. I did not attend the virtual graduation. I was like, I'm not doing this virtual graduation. But, the job market in 2020, for the past couple of years, it's been amazing. I mean, if you're a new grad, you could get pretty much any job you wanted if you were somewhat competent. I mean, like people are like especially in 2021. I mean, people were like really. That's when we saw wage price inflation start to get a little higher. A lot of jobs were very competitive, and people had opportunities. So and again, it goes back to the theme of today's show, which is that the $7 trillion we printed. It seems like that $7 trillion that we printed was just, not a reason to have a massive economic collapse. It was a weird thing that happened that helped stop a crazy pandemic from taking over. Did it need to be 7 trillion? No, maybe it could have been 5 trillion, right? But like we printed more than we needed, but maybe it didn't mean that we needed to have a massive recession. Like subprime mortgages, giving mortgages to strippers in 2008 at 1%. That was a reason for why the economy should have collapsed. That didn't happen over the past couple of years. Like that's not what was happening. Yeah, there was some funny stuff going on. Some assets got really speculative, like NFTs, etc. But in general, it was just the printing of money. And if the Fed did quantitative tightening, which they've done, which they continue to do every month, if they sell off these loans, if they continue to raise rates, you put those together, you should get some tight monetary policy that hopefully should help as inflation comes down, which is really important. The other thing I was going to say is what we did in March. We were having a conversation about this on Finance Junkies last night, which I thought was a really interesting conversation, which is Silicon Valley Bank should have destroyed the economy, because once you have a bank run, that is, set for everyone at least in America to be like, well, we don't trust the banks. We want to take our money out of the banks. If you take money out of the banks, banks can't take out loans. Banks can't finance you. You get really, really bad things from happening. This is what happened in 2008 with Lehman Brothers, et cetera. Now, because the Fed backstopped those banks from falling, basically saying, hey, if anything goes wrong, we will have your back. I mean, literally, Roku had $450 million in Silicon Valley Bank. Let's actually look at Roku, by the way. We haven't looked at them in a while. And the Fed said, hey, your $450 million that you lost because Silicon Valley Bank was collapsing, we're going to give you that money. So the Fed made sure FDIC insurance went from 250,000 to 2 million, right? Like it's just a lot of things the Fed did to make sure that even though they were going to raise the crap out of rates, which is, by the way, the reason why Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. The Fed's not the reason, but the incompetence of the managers that couldn't see the rising rates. That's the reason why the bank collapsed. The Fed knew they had put the bank in that situation and put a lot of banks in that situation, but they also knew they had to get rid of inflation. So they printed more money to make sure that at least the banks wouldn't collapse in our attempt to get rid of inflation. And now they're still doing quantitative tightening to be able to get rid of the money that they printed. I mean, Jerome Powell has done a good job. He's done a good job. You got to give him some props for that. And now it's just a question of if he can pull off the soft landing. Roku at $98. If we look at the 1 year or the year to date on Roku, Roku was at start of the year. Let me go to the max, actually. That's a little bit easier. Roku start of the year was at 2023. We were at $35. Wow. I did not know Roku got to 35. Holy crap. Wow. Roku. Wait, so the year to date, let me just look at this. Year to date on Roku must be like 80%, 100%, something like that. Roku year to date. Yeah, 135%. So, I mean, at $35, if you got into Roku, you're up under 35%, which is not bad at all. So we got Roku is up as well. What else do we have? Let's look at some other Kathy stocks. Zoom. This is one that how has Zoom done this year? Let me actually look at that one. Zoom is at $71. I think Zoom has been a little bit less of a runner. Zoom, 4% year to date. Yeah. I mean, this is the most confusing Kathy stock to me. And the reason it's confusing is because I don't understand how she is so excited for Zoom, and it's like the third biggest position in her fund, but maybe she will see perform. But that one's always been weird to me. Enphase at 121. We got Robin at 1170. Truist at 3717. Palantir at 1880. Look at that. Look at that. Palantir up 3% on the day. I did buy $30 call options yesterday on Palantir. Not a lot. I put $1,000 into it just for the hell of it. Those are up 32% right now. $358. Not bad. I was thinking, let me build this into a long position. Now it's up 38%, so $428. But I just threw it in there yesterday, just because Palantir. I saw Palantir was the only thing that wasn't running yesterday. It was still stuck in the 17s, and I was like, wait a second, everything's running. Palantir's not running. Maybe it's because the market is ran up too much, and so maybe there's some opportunity here to get options that are cheaper. Palantir now up 3% on the day, 1886. I mean, 19. If we can get back to that golden 19, that would be nice to see. I wouldn't mind seeing 19 Dolores on Palantir. We just got to see if we can get there to that $19 range. We got to see if we can get there, see if that can happen. What do you do and the junkies think on how soon Tesla will IPO SpaceX? That's a great question. What do you guys think? When will Tesla IPO SpaceX? Well, it's not really Tesla, right? It's in general, because SpaceX is a separate company. You're talking about Elon. I don't know, but their tender offer is now 180 billion market cap on SpaceX. Look at Palantir running. Look at Palantir doing its thing. 1893. Not bad, Palantir. Keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing. But I don't know. I don't know when it'll IPO. I think it'll take a long time because they're still getting so much interest from the private markets. I think when they do IPO, it'll be close to like $200-300 billion market cap. Right now, it's still at 180. Sachin, a good friend of the channel, he has shares at $15 for SpaceX. I think now they're worth like $80. He got them through a private fund. So SpaceX, I mean, incredible investment. It's pretty obvious that what they're doing is, I mean, the fact that Elon owns SpaceX and Tesla is just insane. It's insane that it's happening. But eventually, we will probably see some of that happening. Kelly says, why do you buy things without telling me? Kelly, this is options, okay? And you don't like options and you don't want to hear about options. So I don't tell you about options, okay? Kelly's just like, when you talk about options, I fall asleep. I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to have you fall asleep here. So I'm not going to tell you about the options. If you cared about options, I would tell you about options. The problem is, you don't care. And so that's why I didn't tell you. Ashwin says, can you do a tutorial know-how on how to buy call options or how it works? Yeah, eventually one day on the market open. I'm not gonna do a video on it because you guys know my videos. Now my videos are just the daily Palantir episodes. In general, look, I don't think you guys need me to do a video on it. I know I talk about it. Some people know what I'm talking about. Some people don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not an expert at options by any sense of the imagination, but I was a noob in January. I learned about this shit. By the way, you know what's funny, guys? All right, so now the market open is over. It's 10 a.m. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We're now going to get into Q&A. We're going to have Palantir on the side just to see if we can hit that 19 while we're doing Q&A. We always do Q&A on Fridays, so thank you, everybody, for joining. We do this for about 20 minutes and just talk about life, stocks, everything. So we'll have Palantir on the side. Last time I did this, you guys remember Palantir was rallying last time I did this. Last time I just kept talking naturally in the background. Palantir went up. So let's see if we can get that stock. Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have Palantir queued. If it hits 1897, we're buying one share. We're doing what we got to do. We're doing what we got to do. Let's get one share on the queue, ready to go. And right when we get to the level we need to get at, I'm going to swipe up and we'll see if we can do it. All right. So it's queued. It is queued at 1892, 1893. If it gets down to 1896 or 7, we're swiping up and we'll see what we can do. I knew nothing about options in 2023. Okay. In the beginning, Chris texted me in January of 2023, and he was trying to explain to me the spreads he had on Meta. Okay. Meta, I think at the time was at $120, and he had spreads to like 180 or something. That was a strike. He would like 5x on these spreads. I went through the old text and I was looking at him, and like he was trying to explain it, but he wasn't trying to be like pushy because he didn't want to be like, Amit, you should definitely buy this. Oh my God, we're at 19. Oh my God, we're at 19. Holy, when did that happen? When did that happen? Holy crap. When did that happen? Okay, so never mind. We're at $19. There we go. There we go. But I didn't even have to buy a share for this one. $19 on Palantir. We got it. Damn, bro. It's, you know how you guys, I've been getting so many texts this week of people falling asleep to my voice and you know, and people like getting so relaxed by me. I think my voice is kind of magical. You know, this happened 2 times in a row. Last time I was talking, Palantir just naturally happened to go up. I think there's something to this theory that when I talk and I'm not really focused on Palantir, It's like when you show a girl no attention when you're playing hard to get, you know, sometimes when you just don't show a girl attention, she'll just keep chasing you further and further. And you don't even know you're not showing her attention, but like you just don't show her attention. And then, you know, she's just like goo goo gaga over you, right? Like head over heels. She's taking her heels and she's like putting them over her head when you just don't show her attention. And so it seems like Palantir did that today. Palantir just like, they were like, you know, Amit, you showed me so much attention. Maybe just chill off a little bit and I'll do what I need to do. 19 plus, baby. 19 plus, baby. Palantir, $19.11. Why does the camera have to die? Why does this fucking camera have to die? You guys want to know something funny? Now that we're in the Q&A section. So I was on I was on a Zoom date. Okay. I was on a Zoom date 2 weeks ago with none other than the woman who's throwing these side eye emojis in the chat. And okay, the Zoom date was like 5 hours. All right. We started at like 7 p.m. It ended at like 12 a.m. And I was on the Zoom date with Kelly. Dude, I was using my regular camera. The camera didn't die for 5 fucking hours. Can you explain to me how the camera that dies every like 30 seconds on this live stream, you guys see me reaching back and forth trying to open it, how does it not die for 5 fucking hours? I'm like, it was 12 a.m. and I'm like, Kelly, this camera is like still on. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, how is this camera on right now? Like, this is not supposed to happen. And so I don't know what was happening that night, but the camera just didn't die. So maybe we need Kelly on all these market open streams. She needs to be in the background to keep the camera live, because I really get annoyed by it. But every 30 seconds it dies, and then on that day it stayed up. So camera's live. Palantir's at 1911. The story I was saying about, good night, Johnny. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here on the stream. Have a good night. I know you're sleeping because you sleep during the day and stuff. So thank you, Johnny, for being here. The story I was saying is Chris was trying to explain me options on Meta in January, and I didn't get it. And I didn't ask him more questions. And if I had just been a little bit more inquisitive, and been like, wait a second, how exactly are you doing this? I would have made a shit ton of money off Meta because I would have followed him on that one. But I was just kind of like, oh, he's doing his little option thingy, you know? And I didn't get that, wait a second, he's trying to explain it to me, but he's not trying to be pushy because he doesn't want to be responsible for if the trade goes wrong and I lose my money. Obviously, he can handle losing his money, but he doesn't want to be responsible for that. So I didn't listen to him. Now, when TFC came up in May, and this is when I really learned about options. So this is going back to the question of someone saying, hey, do you know how to buy options? This one I really listened. And this is when he got upset because he was like, you need to really fucking listen right now. Because if you listen, you might actually make some money. And he pushed it harder on me. And I got super excited at that point because I was like, dude, I've made like literally May 2023. I think I was still down 20% for the year. I was still down, even though, large caps have done well. So I was so fucking annoyed. I was like, dude, I just want to learn how to like actually get some skills in this market. And that's when I listened, and that's when shit changed. The point of this is to say it's not that hard to learn it if you just are inquisitive and you listen, which means you don't need me to teach it. You can go on YouTube. I watched a lot of it. Chris gave me a foundation, but then I watched hundreds of videos just playing it in the background, trying to understand what the fuck does this mean? Because trading options, understanding contracts, derivatives, spreads, all this stuff is just a little bit of math at the end of the day. It's like common sense and math. And then the creative part is picking the company. Like so the math and the math of it is like 10% of the work. 90% of it is picking the right company. And now the math matters because if you fuck up on the math, you can really lose a lot of money. And so that's why it's something you really have to understand. And you can do paper trading on Robinhood, on E-Trade, you can play with millions of dollars for free, right? Paper trading, and see how your options go up and down. But a lot of it is not that complicated. It takes a willingness to try to understand. And to me, I feel like Sherlock Holmes trying to understand the opportunities, the arbitrage. And that's what I did with Robinhood over the past couple of weeks. And so it's exciting to me, and it's more fun looking up at. But Kelly says the universe has spoken. Dude, 5 hours of a camera not breaking up. That's crazy. You wore it out on a 5-hour Zoom date. Yeah, pretty much. I guess. That's why you're saying the camera's dying, because I wore it out on a 5-hour Zoom date. I don't know, bro. I was just like, 5 hours, this camera has never stayed on, ever. And I used to record a podcast with my friend back in 2020, and we used the same camera. It's a Sony a6400. And the podcast used to be 2 hours, and after 40 minutes, it would die, and we would have to stop in the middle of our conversation and let it cool down and then turn it back on. It was so annoying, bro. It was so annoying. And now the fucking camera's good for 5 hours. Just insane. Absolutely insane. Arnie says, with options, the more you focus on the substance and the less on the complicated stuff, the better. Yeah, I agree. Because at the end of the day, you're just trying to pick the right company and see if that company has the potential to get to your strike price, especially if you're on the upside of the option, and then see what can happen. And so, It's really about understanding, do you have the right company? Palantir at $19, fighting for that $19 level at 4.34% a day. Let me check my options. Speaking of options, let me see how much my options are up on Palantir because I bought them yesterday. Again, I only threw $1,000 into them. How much are they up? How much are they up? Oh, they're actually down. See, this is, they're barely up 22. So this is so interesting, right? The other thing about options is that the volatility on these suckers, Palantir's up 5% on the day, but the options are barely up, even though they were up like 30% 2 minutes ago. And that's because, it's all based on the supply and demand of the contracts that are available for in the liquidity of the option pool, and they're 2026, which is far out. So not that many people have them. So they can go up and down, based on the stock barely correlating with the movement of the option. So a lot of this stuff is really just trying to understand the broader ecosystem of it. And I'm literally just continuing to learn about options. I found out yesterday you can click a button on Robinhood and it shows you the open interest on the contracts. I was like, oh, I can see how many thousands of contracts are actually open on this strike price and on this date. I didn't know that before. And it's like, so it's I guess I'm just a curious person that wants to keep learning about it. And as long as you're excited to learn, you'll see more. Palantir at 1895, Truce at 3721, Enphase 121, S&P 469, Tesla 251. All right, we'll leave Palantir open. And we'll do questions. Anyone has questions in the chat, we'll keep doing questions. And then we'll end it out in about 15 minutes. Tata says, Amit, I am waiting for my daily dose of writ large. I didn't say it today, right? I didn't say it today. I forgot to say it somehow. But writ large, I will continue to talk for the rest of the podcast. Tom Brady says, check your camera settings, Amit. Don't run a higher resolution than you're streaming. No point in capturing 4K if you're only streaming 720. You'll save lots of battery. So the battery is not the problem because it's always charged. The overheating is the problem. I am streaming 180. So for those that are not watching me in 180 right now, please switch the YouTube thing to 180. I don't know if 4K is making 180 better or worse. So that's why I want to keep 4K. If you haven't liked the stream, please like the stream. We're at 159 likes, 600 people here. Please make sure to just gently press that like button. Let's do word of the day while we're doing Q&A. Let's see what we got today. Oh, this is a hell of a word of the day. This is an interesting word. Let's see. Putting tens of thousands of dollars into options before you knew what open interest was is insane. Look, I agree. It's a little insane. However, I do disagree on one perspective, Matt. Sometimes you got to just go in, right? And you like with options and stock market in general. I mean, like, most people don't know what a PE ratio is before they're investing. I mean, most people that have, like, I doubt everyone who's buying Amazon for the first time knows their PE ratio, which is something you should know theoretically. So, I mean, in general, I think at some level, even if you're playing with a little bit of money, you gotta jump in, you gotta go swimming, and you gotta lose a little bit and feel the pain. You just want to hope it's not that bad. I mean, dude, 2020, I lost like $10,000 on a biotech stock. So I also think like I've been through so much pain just jumping into it. And honestly, I think if you're gonna make big money in the stock market, there's no one I heard of. I mean, Chris has told the story many times. He's lost $300,000 on a trade. He was up $250,000. He lost $300,000 on a trade. He was up $250,000 on. Like this is, sometimes you got to go through some of the shit. Hopefully it's not that big of a loss where you just learn more about the markets, because in this game, experience really is the best teacher. And I think 2021, all of us got humbled and we learned a lot. So thankfully I didn't do the options in 2021. I mean, that's, thanks. So thankfully I really got to learn a little bit later from there. The word today is Ken Speckle.
Ken Speckle.
I got that right. Not bad. Easily seen or recognized. Conspicuous. Ken Speckle.
Ken Speckle.
Okay, where's the etymology of this word? First recorded around 1705, Scottish and Northern English, derives from ken speck, which is of Scandinavian origin. The English word ken means knowledge, understanding, or cognizance, mental perception. Ken Spock of Norwegian is quick at recognizing, literally no clever. I didn't know ken means knowledge. I didn't know that. Interesting. Ken Speckle. The Ken Speckle sense of style made her stand out in a crowd. The Ken Speckle neon sign outside of the store attracted customers from afar. I've never been Ken Speckled in my life when it came to being recognized for anything. So yeah, I've never, no one's ever recognized me off YouTube ever. That's well, okay. Technically yes, but in general, no, that's never really happened. So I've never been Ken Speckled. Palantir back above 19. Not bad at all, but Ken Speckled, nice, easily recognizable. That's a cool way to say easily recognizable. What else do we have? Amit, make an extra long Palantir weekly tonight. Dude, I got to go to sleep. I have a long Saturday. I got to get a lot of shit done. I try to end that in an hour. And we've been doing good ending in an hour. But yeah, tonight, I don't know how long it can be. Hopefully it'll just be 11 to 12. And I still have a meeting at 10 10. So I might be late if that meeting runs a little longer. I told you guys I'm working on a little project that's probably launching in January 2024. It has to do with Palantir. I think you guys are gonna be really, really excited for when I haven't talked about it in the past couple of weeks, but dude, it's gonna cost $5 a month. I'll say that right now because it costs us money to run the service. If there's 600 people here and all 600 of you care about Palantir, I think all 600 of you will pay the $5 a month and you won't even hesitate because that's how good of a product it is. I genuinely believe it. I genuinely believe this fucking product is going to be, so it's not Patreon, it's not Discord, it's not exclusive content or any of this shit. It is one of those products where you're going to look at it and be like, holy fuck, it makes so much sense. It's going to cost 2 Palantir shares a year to use it every day, the unlimited version of it. And I think you guys are going to love it. So it's a fun product. And honestly, I think you guys are, I'm saying it so confidently because I believe in the product that much. Like I wouldn't say all of you guys are going to pay me $5 a month because you're definitely going to love it because that sounds like, douchey. I genuinely think the product is that good. You guys can be like, fuck, here's $5 a month. Take it, bro. Like we got to use this shit. So I'm excited to launch that. And I have a meeting at 10 p.m. on making some more progress on that. But I think you guys will enjoy. Think you guys will indeed enjoy. Laser says I will definitely pay the $5 a month. And yeah, I'm saying it in a very cocky way because I think you guys are, I'm not even trying to sell it right now. I just think I asked myself, would I pay the $5 a month if someone made this product and I was a Palantir investor? And I'm like, dude, I would pay a lot more than $5 a month because I think this shit is good. This shit is really cool. I'm not going to say anything about what the product is. Maybe you guys can guess. I'm not going to say a single word. It's the first time I'm building a SaaS, a software as a service. And it's really simple. Like it's taken me 10 hours over the past month to build it. It's already built. Now we're just testing it because it was that easy to build. And it's because of, the work I've done over the past 2 years. And so now, I'm meeting with one of my devs on Friday night and we're going to get this sucker done and hopefully launch it by January 2024. It's a dating app. It's a Palantir dating app, dude. It matches you based on your interest. Like this person likes Alex Karp's hair. This person likes AIP. Okay, they're a match. Could you imagine a Palantir dating app? The problem is there's not enough girls in the Palantir community to make a dating app. There's not enough girls. It would literally be all guys matching with each other. That's the problem. Palantir is still at $19 right now. By the way, again, we're still doing Q&A. If you have any questions, put them in the chat and I will answer them. Joseph says, Amit, we are recognizing you today. Joseph, I appreciate you. Joseph, I think that's you and your wife in the profile picture. That's amazing. I love seeing couples in the profile picture. That's awesome. It's so nice to put your wife as your profile picture. It's so cool. I know the audience I have is a bit older. And so it's really nice. One thing I think I never told you guys, I've gotten along with older people my entire life. There was a neighbor I used to have named Alex. And Alex was around 82 years old when I was like 10 years old. I would go and sit on Alex's porch every single day and we would talk about life. I mean, it's like I've gotten along with older people my whole life. They just loved me. Like, because I think they wanted someone to like listen to them. And that's where I think my conversational skills got really good. That's why I've been able to get so many women in my life because I just know how to listen to them. And apparently if you just listen to these things, like it works really well. So I listened when I was so young to these older people when I would have conversations with them. And it created an affinity for how I communicate with them. And so I think it helped as I grow older and I raise money for my startup. You're talking to investors. You're bringing a level of exuberance to the conversation and real listening to answer their concerns. And so I think it helped a lot. So Alex, I would sit with him every day. He ended up passing away about, I would say 8 years ago. But in my old neighborhood, I lived with him. He was right across the street. I remember one day it snowed really badly. And now Alex is 80 years old. He can't mow the snow. Oh my God, you guys make so much fun of me. What is it when you pick up the snow? Shovel the snow, not mow the show. You mow the lawn. I can't defend myself on that one. So he couldn't shovel the snow. And so I went outside, I was shoveling our snow and I shoveled his snow, right? I mowed his snow, whatever. I mowed his snow. And he came outside after I was done and he didn't ask me to do this, or he didn't even know I was doing this. And he took out $5 and he wanted to give me $5. And I said, no, this was just something that, a good neighbor does. Palantir right now at 1909. This is not something that, I'm doing for money. That's not my goal here. And, he was just so happy because he saw someone genuinely, because he's older, right? Like he's not going to be able to shovel snow. Like he's an older guy. And so I just did it. And my mom was really happy as well because she saw that whole thing happen. She was just watching outside and me rejecting the money. And she was really happy I did that, And so I think to bring it back to what I'm building, that's another reason why I'm confident charging $5 a month, because I don't want to ever charge people money for bullshit because I know how hard it is to give up money. And throughout my entire life, I've never tried to grift, you know, an old man for $5 for mowing his snow. And so when I say I think you guys will pay $5 a month, it's because I think the product is actually worth paying for. It's not some Patreon where you get, you know, fucking some exclusive post every other month. Like, no, it's like a real thing that you guys will use. And that's why I think you guys might end up doing that. So, you know, it's, I don't know how seeing someone's comment and a face of an older man got me down that rabbit hole, but I guess that's what it happened. That's what happens. So let me see this. Let me see what's going on in the chat. What is going on in the chat? What is going on? Are you guys making fun of me of the mow the snow? Amit, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And is it your parents' basement? That's what you guys were talking about when I was saying this story. I think in 5 years, what? I'll be 31. I'll be moved out by then. I think I'll be moved out by then. You know, I mean, look, there's no point in moving out right now because there's just like dude, this house is awesome. Like my parents got this house for like a 3% mortgage rate. We moved. There's fucking rabbits I'm looking at rabbits right now in the suburbs. Like I literally live in a fucking like fantasy when it comes to where I live right now in these houses. And it's and like because my mom in 2020 she saw those mortgage rates come down and we moved out of the neighborhood. We were not living in the best house back then, and my parents wanted to move for a long time. And when she saw the trigger on these houses coming down, she said, "Fuck it, we're buying." Like this house has increased in value dramatically since 2020. You know, so we have a big ass house. I'm here home alone all day. It's a nice office. I get to do whatever I want in this house. I help my mom with the groceries. You know, I make sure things are clean. I do clean the house every day. I clean the kitchen. I do the mopping. I do the dishes. Like I actually do that every single day. I do the vacuum, all that stuff. I would be alone, bored alone in my own apartment. There would be nothing to really. I'd be just doing what I do here. So, you know, there's no really intention to move out. Now, granted, by the time I'm 30, I probably want to get out of here. So I got 4 years. I think let me stack the cash. Hopefully can build up some assets and maybe get an investment property and house hack, pay the mortgage with people living in it in the next couple of years. And then we'll move from there. But otherwise, no real intentions right now. Mnob says he will be in Kelly's basement in 5 years. Oh my God. Oh my God. That would Kelly has like a gym in her basement. So if I was there, I'd be running on her treadmill. That'd be for sure. Okay, what other questions do we have? What other questions? Mow that snow, baby. That's a new term. 565 people. You guys know about mow that snow. Eric, you are a quality person. Eric, thank you for being here, man. Means the world. This is the comment that matters. This matters more than $5 a month. This matters more than buy my course with a coupon code that's never going to fucking expire. This is the only comment that I care about. You are a quality person. That's it. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Can you explain how you and Kelly met? It's not that crazy of a story. I think you guys know it. By the way, I think on Saturday, I'm going to be doing late night stock talks. So basically think of like an hour of Q&A, which is what I'm doing right now. We'll do that on Saturday night. Late night stock talks. I used to do that a lot on my channel. Saturday night, I have no date. So I will be probably doing that like around 9 p.m. And we'll be on live. Kelly, so I tweeted something. I said, give me your best stock market pickup line. Palantir is still above $19 as well. So not bad on Palantir. I said, give me your best stock market pickup line. And then Kelly tweeted underneath it. And she was like, dude, I don't know. She said some dope ass pickup lines. And I was just like, who is this? And she was like, are you interested in my rate or something? I don't know what pickup line, but she kept doing it. She sent like 5 of these shits. And I was like, okay, so that's 5 responses. That's a lot of responses. That's I feel like I should respond to them. And then I responded to them and her at name was Self-Made Mastery. I didn't even know her name was Kelly. I was like, so what's your name? And she's like, oh, my name's Kelly. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I think I just flirted back at the stock market pickup lines. And then she, she couldn't get enough of me. And then she just DM'd me. And then she DMs me. And then from there, honestly, the rest is history, you know, because once they slide in my DMs, you know, it's just like a alley. It's like a layup at that, but it's a fucking layup. It's not really that hard for me. So that's the thing about me. If a girl shows interest, I think I'll get her. If she doesn't show interest, sometimes I'm afraid to make the first move. And so I like the chase. I love the chase, but I need to know that you're at least interested in being chased. And, when you DM, I'm like, all right, you're interested. And so here we go. It's like, this is very simple. This is now I just got to do the layup. And Kelly says this is a one-sided analysis, not a true representation of events. Look, that is how it happened. Okay. That is what happened. She DM'd me. We start talking. We get interested in each other. And then, then we became friends for the next 2 years. And I will say for about 2 years, it wasn't really romantic or anything like that. But eventually you stay in someone's life for a while and things start to happen. And it was funny. One of my followers back in 2022, he was like, yo, go after that Kelly girl. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, she's responding to your tweets, all this stuff. I was like, dude, like, this is not that serious. It's just some girl on Twitter. Like, I really was like, you're pushing it, bro. You're really pushing it. And, well, 2 years later, things happen. So, the stupid camera, bro. Oh my God. Why can't you stay alive? Like, why are you doing this? You're so annoying. I hate when it dies. Palantir still above 1902. Robin at 1170. Let's take a look at what we have on the portfolio. Yeah, TFC is continuing to do well. TFC down just a little bit today. So TFC, I put in an option. I put in an order to get some more TFC options, and I bid a bit higher, and it's still not filling. So TFC is doing well. But Palantir is still above $19. We'll see if it can keep going. I'll be on for like another 5-10 minutes, and then we'll be out for today. Kelly says, it's because you're disrespecting the universe and us right now. That's why your camera's wilding. I'm not disrespecting the universe. I'm saying that the universe led you to DM me because you saw I was incredibly attractive and you're like, holy crap, I got to go get this guy. And that's how it happened. That's how the universe went through. Honestly, it's cool how these stories happen because like, I never thought I'd meet someone over the internet like that, and I know there's like Tinder and Hinge and all that shit, but it's just interesting how things happen in the real world. Obviously, I met Kelly in Vegas, so you guys know that I saw her in person. But it's just so crazy how things happen, right? Like things happen over the internet, and if I had not tweeted that, I mean, just think about it. If I had not tweeted, please give me your best. I was at work. I remember I was at work. It was like 3 p.m. I start work at 3:30. I was in the office and I was just like, I was tweeting. I had 3,000 followers at the time. I was trying to grow my Twitter and I was like, oh, here's maybe something that'll get some engagement. And then that thing just happened to pop into Kelly's feed and she happened to respond. And then this whole thing happened to end. Like, imagine that that one moment doesn't happen. Imagine I don't invest in Palantir in April of 2021 because I just don't find out about it, right? Like I just wasn't into it. Like none of this would have happened. So it's pretty crazy that like, it's the huge glasses. Like, yo, the amount of comments I've been getting, but people saying, yo, your glasses are huge. People really are just like, they're infatuated with my glasses or something. I'm just like, I didn't even notice they were that big. They're just my glasses. Like, it's not that serious. But I guess I have pretty big glasses for people. But in general, yeah, I mean, shit happens. And that's right. Butterfly effect. It's so funny you say that word, Arnie. It's so funny you say the word butterfly. Butterfly effect. I agree. It's definitely a butterfly effect. He was in the arena. Yep. Sounds like you need to be thanking Elon for Kelly. No, Elon didn't buy Twitter before. It was a month before he bought Twitter. But yeah, basically, I guess Elon's the reason. You know what's so funny, guys, as well? Let me show you guys this. I don't think you guys know about this. Let's turn the camera back on, the good camera. So Kelly and I have been shadow banned on Twitter for the past week, okay? This is actually so funny. Kelly and I have been shadow banned on Twitter. What I mean by shadow ban is that our replies show up as offensive on Twitter. So like they're hidden. And when you search for like I tweet about Robinhood, you search about Robinhood or Palantir in the ticker in the tweet, like I'm just shadow banned from search. I'm not showing up. And so this happened a week ago. Okay. And Kelly noticed it. And so she texts me. She's like, dude, admit, like I'm shadow banned, you're shadow banned, like we're fucked. And I'm like, you're shadow banned. I'm not shadow banned. Okay. Like relax. Like maybe you're shadow banned, but Elon loves me. Like I'm doing fine. And she's trying to convince me. She's like, dude, no, you're fucked. And I'm still getting followers. My followers are growing up. I went from I got like 50 followers in the time that she's trying to convince me. And I'm like, relax. Okay. I'm not shadow banned. I'm fine. And then over the past couple of days, not only does the follower growth stop, but like I can tell that like you know, if you're using the platform, like you can tell if your shit is like falling off a cliff. I text her last night. I'm like, yo, I think it's I think I'm shadow banned. And she's just like, yes, motherfucker, I've been trying to tell you this shit. And then yesterday it was proven that I was shadow banned. It was really bad. So I'm saying this to say I'm not shadow banned anymore. So this is what I tweeted yesterday. Apparently my posts are showing up under offensive replies and my account is flagged. What's worse is I pay $22 a month for X. I pay for the fucking premium. I'm like, dude, like how is this getting banned? Apparently, I don't know how this tweet got 25,000 views, but this tweet somehow got 25,000 views. And I was like, please fix this somehow. And then I said, all right, I'm not going to post. Because what Kelly did is she's like, you can't post anymore because you have to like make your account like reset. And I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm not going to post, whatever. Then 1 hour later, Palantir gets the Army Vantage contract and I like have to tweet about it. Oh, you guys can't see the big screen. Hold on. Let me see this. I was like, guess what? X, you better fix yourself with posting because I'm not leaving. And I do the Wolf of Wall Street meme. The show goes on. And I'm just like, fuck it, bro. They're going to have to get rid of me somehow, but I'm not leaving. I'm not going to stop posting. And then I wake up this morning. I start tweeting like normal. I wake up this morning and it's fixed. It's fixed. And I said I went on a separate account and now my replies aren't hidden. Sometimes the best way out is through. I really force posted my way into X fixing my account. But honestly, I was banned for the past 2 weeks. I was shadow banned for the past 2 weeks. So Kelly was taking the bulk of the pain for the past 2 weeks. And I just was in denial, which is actually nice to live in denial of that it's not happening. And then I go through 1 day of agony, which was yesterday. I felt so annoyed because like Twitter is important for me, bro. Twitter is my brand. I need to keep my Twitter growing. And I put in work on my Twitter. Like I schedule tweets, all this stuff. I make sure I'm posting content. If shit's happening in the moment, I tweet it immediately. I try to get news out instantly. Like I care about Twitter. And so when that goes away, you're just like, fuck, bro, this sucks. And so I went through 1 day of pain. She went through a week of pain. And now it's fixed. And now it's good to go. So how are you certain you got shadow banned? So if you go on an alternative account, that alternative account, and then you like, so for example, Arnie, if I commented on one of your posts and I go on an alt account and I click on Arnie's post and I scroll down to the replies, I was in the hidden offensive replies, which means my comment of just like, oh, great analysis, it was showing up under the hidden replies. You would have to click a button to show the reply. And then in search, if you typed in hashtag Palantir, I wouldn't show up. And that doesn't make sense, right? Because I tweet about Palantir every day. I should be showing up. So that was like, it was obvious. And then I saw my followers, I saw the impressions. I was just like, all right, so this is real. But today it's fixed. I woke up this morning, I searched it and it was good to go. So as Kelly says, I let you live in blissful denial because I love your stupid ass. Dude, she was stressing about it. She was really upset. Like I could tell she was like physically upset about this. And I was here just like, well, I'm tweeting. I got news to cover. I got stocks to cover. But I noticed it on the bull run, the day we had the massive bull run, I tweeted like 50 times. Dude, I lost a couple followers. And I'm like, and usually, yeah, you'll lose some, but you'll gain a lot more because you're getting so many impressions. I'm like, why the fuck am I not gaining any? Like I've gotten a lot of impressions today. Let me show you guys the Twitter analytics. I was like, I should be doing well. I don't know why it's doing this bad. And then it hit me. I was like, fuck, bro, they nuked my account. They got me here. They got me here. Okay, so here are your Twitter analytics. It's Elon, it's X, bro. You know, I don't say Twitter on Twitter because it's like, I don't like saying it because I think they might shadow ban you. But on YouTube, I'm just fucking Twitter, bro. It's like, but yes, it's X, whatever. So here's the impressions, right? I got 10 million impressions over the past 28 days. That means 10 million times my post showed up in the feed. Over the past 7 days, it's been averaging about 200,000 impressions. So December 14th, Wednesday, with the day of the Fed meeting, I got 158,000 impressions, which is actually lower because I tweeted so much. So like, the tweets just weren't getting any organic reach. They were going to my followers, but not going to new people. And that's what you need to be able to grow. And so Thursday, it picked up a little bit, but now look, Friday, it's only 10:32 and I'm at 184,000 impressions. And all of yesterday, I did 200,000 and it's only 10:32 today. So that's how like Twitter's actually showing it to people. Like when I woke up in the morning, I think I got a lot more followers and I was like, oh yeah, there are real people that it's finally showing it to. So it's good that it's actually working. Raul says, Kelly, you should go in live with the Finance Junkies one of these nights. We all think you are so part of this community. Dude, I have said this a trillion times to Kelly to come on live, but she's not doing it. So I think we agree the one time she's going to go live with me on this channel is when we're in person. So the next time we meet in person, we're going to go live on this channel. It'll be fun. It'll be both of us. She'll be sitting right next to me and I'll be able to ask her some interesting questions to say the least. But she's a little bit more nervous. And honestly, we had 500 people yesterday in the Finance Junkie stream. I sent the link to get people to come online. No one joined. It's nerve-wracking, bro. There's like 500 people. Like to me, there's 484 people here. There were 800 at the height of the market open stream. I don't give a shit. I really don't care. I wish there were 4,000. That's not to say I don't value the 484, but like I thrive on it, dude. Like give me 40,000. Give me 400 fucking thousand. I am an attention whore. I need the attention. Okay, I need it. So for me, I thrive in it. Like I love it. But for someone like Kelly and the far majority of people, it's like there's 500 people listening to it. You say some stupid shit, like, and don't get me wrong. I've said some stupid shit, but I just love the attention. And so, I'll figure out how to maneuver my words. I said mowing the snow, for goodness sakes. I said mowing the snow, but, you just kind of keep it going. So, so a lot of people don't want to join because it is nerve wracking, but as you keep doing it is fun. Someone said Twitter or YouTube. Honestly, bro, it's hard to pick because YouTube's so awesome. YouTube's so awesome in terms of how the reach and the distribution, and YouTube's obviously bigger, but Twitter is like, I love Twitter. I don't know if I could pick. Like, I fucking love Twitter, bro. I love that shit. Like, I really do. I mean, there's just so much opportunities come from both. I don't know if I could pick. I don't know if I could. It's hard. Both of them are really, really important. Great show. See you Monday. Cool Cosmic Guy. Thank you for being here. We'll see you on Monday as well. So we'll keep seeing it from there. 1,000 will be regular next year. Hopefully. We got to keep building it, bro. We got to keep building it. It's super fun though, man. It's super fun. It's like, just like, I don't know, in some way, dude, I feel like I was built for this. Like, I felt like I was, given all my past experiences, I was built to have a market, not a market open stream, but like a daily show. You know, you got Ben Shapiro, who gets millions, I mean, like tens of millions of people listen to him every single day. You got people on CNN and mainstream media. You got Andrew Ross Sorkin. Like, in a way, people are looking for their calling. In a way, dude, I just feel like the thing I've done in the past was debate. Been such an integral part of my life in terms of coming up with stories, arguments, connections, etc. What is this market open stream? Bitcoin, by the way, below 42,000. Let me pull up Palantir as well so we can keep looking at that. Yeah, that's not going to be the best for the markets. Things are coming down a little bit. Palantir is still at 1898. The market open stream is basically just making arguments all day, right? Any type of stream, any type of sort of infotainment, politics, stocks, it's just making an argument. Like, Palantir's down. What's the argument? AMD is up. What's the argument? The Fed is lowering rates. What's the argument? And you've got to be good. I think this is what me, Kevin, is really good at. It's synthesizing the information and having enough of a knowledge repository in the depths of your brain, which is why the more I learn about things, the more, like, money market funds. I don't know what the fuck money market funds were 3 months ago, but like, I learned about them. And I'm like, oh, now I can talk about this thing. And I just like the idea of having more things I inject into my brain. And then if I can communicate them correctly, I can spit them out on the stream. And if they sound good enough, people find enough value, they'll keep coming back. Right. And so to me, it's this ever growing knowledge repository. Like, I am my own LLM. And I spit out stuff. Hopefully I don't hallucinate as much as, LLMs do. And I'm going to hallucinate. I'm going to make mistakes. But if I can make less mistakes and be entertaining, so creative as an LLM, I'm prompt engineered as a funny LLM. Okay, this LLM analogy is going too far. If I can keep doing that, then it'll keep growing. And so I kind of think I'm made for this, bro. I really do think I'm made for this. But a lot of it comes with just the consistency and discipline of keeping it going. Jay Schwartz says, what's on Monday? Why not tomorrow? Monday for the market open stream. I'll be live tomorrow night. So not for the market open, because there is no market open tomorrow, but today's Friday, right? Yeah, today's definitely Friday. So not doing the market open tomorrow. June says, do you think you could challenge yourself to a week off Twitter? No. That's what Kelly suggested yesterday. She was like, oh, let's take a week off. And I was like, okay. I kind of like said, okay. And then an hour later, I was like, dude, I can't be off Twitter. Like, fuck, SoFi's up 100% year to date. I got to tweet that shit. Like, Twitter's got me, bro. They've got me. It's really, that's why I would invest in those guys, dude. If they goes public, I think I would have to invest. I'm like, it's just, and now you saw the Bloomberg article, they're doing about 2.5 billion in revenue, 600 million per year. So they're down at 1.5 billion from the 4 billion in revenue last year. But that subscription pile, if it grows, they're going to break even. Twitter's going to fucking break even in like a year or two, and then they're going to be profitable if it can keep growing. They're getting 10 million users from December 1st to December 7th. They're getting 61,000 users an hour. I mean, Twitter's growing. Now, how many of those are bots? Maybe like 10, 20%, but still, they're growing. And they're growing dramatically. So that's why I think it's good. Vincent, bro, I haven't seen you in so long. Hello, mate. It's been a while that I'm here. You're looking great as usual. Vincent, thank you for being here, man. I hope you're doing well. I hope life is okay. It's Xmas in 10 days. Hope you guys got your presents ready. Dude, see, here's the thing. I'm going to use Vincent as an example right now. This is why, and of course, the camera has to fucking die right now. I need to just buy a new camera. I'm getting tired of this. Palantir at 1886. Vincent is an example of why this job is so hard, okay? Vincent was in the market open stream live every day for, I would say, like 4 months, okay? For the past 4 months, he hasn't been here. And I remember Vincent because he was here every day, right? So I remember his name. Why hasn't he been here? Because life happens, right? People have shit come up. They don't want to join a market open stream anymore. They have shit to do. They have a family. They have, they have a new job. Like, people just like, they grow old of the content. They want to watch something else. Like, this is why this is such a hard fucking job and why it's such a humbling of a job. I saw Steve Wiseman, the guy who predicted The Big Short. He was on CNBC like 3 weeks ago. And he was like, this is the most humbling job in the world, because to be an asset fund manager, like, you might be wrong, you might be right, you could have been really right, you could have been really wrong, and like, you just get humbled by the nature of the beast that is the stock market. Well, so is media. media is incredibly humbling because at the end of the day, what is your job? Your job is to entertain and give information to people. And so if your job is to entertain and give information to people and people just don't find any more value, people will fucking leave. Just like stocks will go down if you make the wrong bet. And so this is why it's a very humbling job at the end of the day. It's a really you gotta continue to innovate or else people leave. This is why, you gotta wear some stupid outfits sometimes. You gotta wear what looked like a sheep's towel that was on my neck. You just gotta be a little more entertaining and up your knowledge repository so that people stay, because it's hard. It's hard to get people here. As I say that, AJ's leaving. All right, I gotta go. God bless. AJ, I appreciate you being here, man. Thank you for being here. I'll see you later. I've been on and off for a year now more frequently. Yeah. I mean, look, a lot of people, I used to be in people's live streams on and off, and then I got used to them. And then I realized it's hard to be committed to them unless you like really want to be there. Now I'm not into that many people's live streams. I mean, like on YouTube at night, I'll throw on like some podcast or whatever, but it's really about finding a resemblance with a creator that you actually care about listening to them, and they bring you some level of peace, serenity, value, whatever. And that's hard to build. And that's why you got to keep going at it every day and innovate in order to make that big. Vincent says, sorry, man, life got to me. I'm unable to attend every live stream already. Yeah, Vincent, and I get it, dude. I get it. That's why I think this is another reason I think I'm developing an audience, is because I actually understand that you're fucking busy. And I'm grateful that you were even here for those first 4 months. And I think you got some other content creators that are expecting that they're entitled to an audience. And they're entitled to the views. This is why I see some people sometimes we're on Twitter, where they do these stupid things, or when they think that's going to get them an audience, and they're, it's just like, dude, like, you are not entitled to an audience. You are not entitled. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. You have to provide value. You have to. Casey Neistat was on a podcast yesterday, a famous YouTuber. This dude built a YouTube channel for 8 years. Barely got to 100,000 subs, and then in 1 year, he goes from 100,000 to 10 million. Because of 8 years of seeing videos do horrible, right? And I think that's the same thing with me. If I can keep at it, and already I think it's done okay. We can explode this, because the majority of the world doesn't know who the fuck I am, which is why it's kind of special. It's just you guys and me. But eventually they will, if we can keep it going. So you got to be humble and be in that process and recognize that you're not entitled to the audience. You're only entitled to what you work for. And you gotta keep it going. Okay. Do we end the stream now? It's been how long? I said I would do 10 minutes. It's like 20 minutes. Doug C says, I got an 8-month-old. He is getting a little more to handle in the morning. So even when I'm here, I'm just lurking most of the time. Yeah, that's real life, bro. It's real life. Things changed. This is also why media is very sad if you're in the media space, because when you stop having an audience, your life kind of loses its purpose to an extent. And that's why choosing to be in media is it's tough, bro, because when you don't have the same level of influence you had, essentially when you become irrelevant because you stop making content. This is why I think Meet Kevin was going through an identity crisis, because quite frankly, he realized he pimped out his audience, and now his audience kind of doesn't care about him. And so he still has a big audience, but it's just like, you start to realize, wait a second, if the people don't care about me, who am I talking to? What's the point of even making a stream? Like, you start really going through a deep rabbit hole. And that's why I think you have to do it the right way. That's why when my product comes out in January and I ask you guys for $5 a month, it's doing it the right way. It's not doing a fucking coupon code for a get rich psychology of money bullshit course that's going to never expire, because you're not doing it the right way. You might make some money, but you're not doing it the right way. And who am I to say what's right and wrong? I get it. It's subjective, but objectively, it's not the right way. It's just not. I don't care how much money you fucking make. And when you do it the right way, it'll show. You'll have a little bit more longevity here. What else do we got? 2 hours into the stream. Yeah, we're 2 hours into the stream, 1 hour and 50 seconds. And this is the other thing why I liked in the streams, where I just be talking. I just be fucking talking. And that's why it's fun. Jay Schwartz says, new job is a good reason to take vacation from the live streams. I can see myself doing that. Yeah. That is also, I mean, look, at the end of the day, YouTube's like TV. I remember I used to watch Good Morning America every day when I was like 12 years old. And honestly, that should have been a sell signal. Not a sell signal, a tell signal. Goodness gracious, stock market. I used to watch Good Morning America every day, to sit through all the fucking pharmaceutical ads, even though I was 10 years old. I didn't need the drugs. And then I would tell my mom when she got home from work what happened in the news. And she would ask me every day. She was like, so what happened today? And I would be like, blah, 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 blah. This is when I think Obama was president, or Bush was leaving his presidency. And I was learning so much. And I should have recognized, wait a second, I love getting all this knowledge. Maybe if I like speaking, I can take that knowledge and communicate it as well. Maybe there's like a career here. Maybe there's something here. And so, yeah, since I was little, I guess I just really enjoyed it. I find the people funny who charge for courses on YouTube. Somehow there's always a sale on year round. Yeah, and look, I'm not against courses. I'm not against doing that stuff. It's just sometimes it gets ridiculous, bro. It's like it's the manipulating of like it's gonna expire the course and then it never expires and then it becomes a meme and then it's just like, dude, it's like if you're gonna take people's money, like at least try to offer some valuable product or service here. Robinhood 1166, Palantir 1879, Enphase 123, S&P 500 469, Tesla 252, QQQ 405. So market's doing okay. Palantir retraced from $19. Probably was going to happen. Obviously, it ran up a lot. Again, Palantir is not participating in this massive rally we're seeing because Palantir has rallied a lot this year. So that's where we're seeing Palantir kind of stuck at these levels and not going up as much as normal. But still not doing bad for today. But Kelly says you're the only live stream I frequent. I appreciate that, Kelly, that you are always here. Makes me happy. What else do we have? Amit, your communication level is OD. That's why it's so easy for you and easier for us to listen to. Yeah, I think I've started to also internalize and believe that a lot more. That like I think I after enough of doing the market open stream, I think I have enough evidence that's like, okay, I think I understand what it takes to communicate this. I'm not always going to be right, but there's a certain art to like transitioning through topics and bringing up arguments and like transitioning and bring up the news and all this stuff and like doing analysis. And I think I'm getting there. And I got a lot to get better at, but I think it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, I think people like it. And now if you can just keep getting better, then it's going to, hopefully get even better from there. Did Jeremy share any insights in regards to this? No, Jeremy didn't really tell me much about content creation. He's just more so like Jeremy. The only thing I know from Jeremy is like, he's just consistent. He just never stops. And even if you mess up, you have the whole TCCF things happen, like whatever, like if you just keep going, you'll be okay. Granted, I don't want to have something like that happen because, that's not nice to happen. But nonetheless, if you're just consistent, that's kind of the key theme for Jeremy. If you just keep going, then you're going to be good. Okay. That's it for me. I think we're done. Amit, did you ever do live collabs with Canadians? Yes, I collab with Tanner, on the SoFi Weekly. I don't do that podcast anymore, but collab with them. So I'm open to collab with anybody. I collab with Haley, who's a new Palantir YouTuber. So anyone who wants to collab, hit me up. I don't care how many subs you have. Honestly, if you have like 5 subs, DM me on Twitter and I'll respond. And I've done so many podcasts with people that have not that many subscribers just for fun, just to keep doing it. Okay. Remember that even if this video is on 2x speed, you are fine and I understand what you are talking. And again, for my debate past, I love talking really fast and I love not wasting time. I know sometimes I have to slow down, but I don't want people to think I'm wasting time. Again, that's the other thing between me, Kevin. When I listen to his streams, he's more of a slow talker. That's how his audiences consumes it. So I like to be a little bit more fast and get slow in different moments and keep it going from there. Okay. I think that's it for today. 2-hour market open stream. We're done. Finance Junkies will be returning on Sunday. We couldn't do last Sunday. We'll be back this Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Palantir Weekly will be live tonight, Friday, 11 p.m. If I'm Arnie, I think you'll be here. If you can't make it, that's okay. But me, Matt, and Vince will be there for sure. So we'll have Palantir Weekly. Lots to talk about on Palantir, new contract. We got a dunk on Louis De Palma. Oh, the Ross Gerber thing. I don't know if you guys saw my video last night. If you haven't seen the video, make sure you watch the video. I dunked on Mr. Gerber, who called Palantir Nazi Germany again. So I'm going to link that video in the chat for those that haven't seen it. We'll be talking about Ross Gerber's comments. That'll be a fun one to discuss as well. And then Saturday, so tomorrow I'll be live 10 p.m. Late night stock talks or 9 p.m., 9:30. And we'll keep it going. Now, look, if I get really busy on Saturday, might not do it, but I think I'll be live Saturday. I'll have a bunch of topics that we can talk about, just fun topics, not just stocks. And so we'll go live Saturday night. So if you're bored Saturday night, get some Uber Eats and maybe I should get some food too. Maybe I should eat live. Maybe let's get something fun. So we'll see what we'll do Saturday, and we'll keep it going. Oh, Farzad's here. Your Ross video was fantastic. You're a gem. I appreciate you, bro. Dude, Farzad, I think you saw the clip of him saying the Tesla Optimus bot is like not innovative. Yeah, Farzad, for those that don't know, I mean, this guy's just exploding out of this world when it comes to Tesla content, and he's responding to Elon Musk every 5 seconds, where Elon Musk responds to him on Twitter. Absolute amazing guy. And yeah, I think that Ross Gerber in this community. I know you've talked to Gerber. He's becoming a little bit of a weird representative for the Tesla community, given some of the stuff he's saying. I mean, to call the Optimus bot an old man Like, I just how could you be invested in this company and not see this as like the future of human civilization? And it's like, I think his political biases are having him shit on Elon at any point. So Farzad, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for checking out the video. Really, really appreciate it. Farzad is the GOAT, as Kelly says in the chat. Yep. All right. So I think that's it. Yeah, we'll do a mukbang on Friday. We'll get some food, or Saturday night. We'll keep it going. Dinner and a show. Yeah, dinner and a show. Lang says, watch all your vids. Thanks, Lang, for being here. Peace out, everyone. Peace out, Benny. All right, that's it for me. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you guys Saturday, 9 p.m. Thank you all for joining. Love you all as always. We'll be back for Palantir Weekly tonight. And we'll have another Palantir Daily episode. We'll talk about that $115 million contract I got a little bit later today. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Spend some time with your family. Happy holidays. I'll see you guys on Saturday night. Bye-bye.